Welcome everybody here for the Unite Battle Hub Anniversary Series Attackers Assault. My name is Kanashi and I'm joined by the wonderful Curly Q and Steph of Anime. Yeah, we have a very interesting set of rule set here. Curly, do you want to break this down?
Yeah, so basically this is Attacker Assault. So the NA region has been challenged with playing attackers only for this tourney. So I cannot wait to see what these teams are going to come up with between all these attackers. But also I want to make note, there are 2 attackers that are banned from this tourney just because of speculation whether or not they are still bugged prior to the most recent patch. So on top of the other roles not being allowed, Chandelure and Espeon have also been banned for this event.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays into the kind of picks and bans that we do happen to get here over the course of this tournament setting. So, Steph, what Pokemon do you think from the attacker role are going to shine? Because we don't have access into defenders, supports. Is there any Pokemon that you think is going to slip under the radar or be kind of like an MVP in this scenario?
Ooh, oh my gosh. First of all, I'm just so excited to see the way these teams are going to shape up without, having your tanks and support. I think for me, I'm expecting to see a little bit more Ninetales, just because Ninetales, on top of being such a strong attacker with recent buffs, also has that support element to it. So I'd love to see some Ninetales. And so also I love Ice type. So on top of, I think, the support that Ninetales has that it can leverage in a team to give it something else aside from just pure DPS and damage, I think that maybe we'll see some Aurora Veil. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'll pose the same question over to you, Curly. Is there any Pokemon that you want to see that you think will either slide under the radar or be one to look out for?
Whenever I first heard that this was going to be attackers only, I don't know why, but the first thing that I thought of was support Pika with experience share. So I actually wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there are a lot of attackers that are 3-stage mons, and so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these teams form those comps. And so I put that into consideration, that there are a lot of 3-stage evolution mons, but there are also a lot of Pokemon that don't have those evolutions, that have a good early game, like Pikachu, Cramorant, and of course we have seen in the NA region that support Pico with experience share from time to time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that pop up today.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that crowd control and like abilities that can hold Pokemon together or kind of swing the way how the fight is going to be played out is going to be important. My eyes personally, I feel like Mew is going to get hit a ton just because it has a bunch of obvious like options that it can go into. But I would be really interested to see how Sylveon with the special defense lowering with the use of hyper voice and seeing how that plays out. And Delphox. I feel like Delphox Fire Spin might also be another one that teams might actually go for. So once again, Attackers Assault, a very interesting setup. Once again, NA region, attackers only. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and figure out who we have for our first match, which I believe is going to be Wildcards versus Who's Our Fifth. Just a quick heads up for everybody. We have, I believe, 13 teams, 11 teams in the bracket today. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a quicker setup, but we will be bringing you all of the matches, or as many of the matches as we can, and just to give you guys kind of like a heads up of what's going on. But overall, just really excited to go ahead and see how this plays out. So yeah,
and also, I would love to chime in to remind everyone, this is, one of our final celebrations for Unite Battle Hub's big anniversary. So just big thank you to everyone who has been watching, supporting all year long, the production team, everyone who's made Unite Battle Hub such an awesome place for Pokemon Unite to continue, and especially really cool events like this. So it's crazy just how much Unite has changed over, season 1, now going into season 2 with, draft bans and just the way things have changed. So it's just a time to celebrate. It's summer, it's July, and gosh, I'm very excited. So I just had to put that in there, Kanashi.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Curly, is there anything that you guys wanted to go ahead and talk about as we slowly transition into our game here? Is there anything that you want to chime in as we're about to start our game number 1 here?
No, I am ready for the chaos to begin. I just think all attackers is going to be so incredible to watch. I just can't wait to see the draft strategy that comes into play. We talked a lot about what we'd like to see, but I think bans here are also going to be super interesting here. I think we could definitely see, like, we mentioned Mew. I could see Mew getting banned a lot here, as well as just really strong Pokemon that have a lot of like just both move kits are great, such as like Venusaur. Solar Beam Venusaur, I feel like is really great, as well as Petal Dance Venusaur. So I don't know, maybe we'll see some of that in here. But these first set of bans are going to be really interesting.
My heart is hurting because it looks like my favorite Pokemon Glaceon is going to get banned over on the purple side, and Greninja getting banned over on being the one orange team is choosing to ban. So very interesting. I'm not surprised to see Glaceon because even though Glaceon has, had a couple of debuffs, still a really powerful special attacker. Inteleon currently going to be the first lock in, the newest Pokemon added to Pokemon Unite. That's really exciting. And maybe just like you predicted, Curly, we're going to see a Pikachu get locked in on Orange and Mew. How are you feeling about kind of this early setup and draft?
I'm feeling really good about this. These are some really good picks. I see Grigum's hovering over that Ninetales there. That's going to be some great CC on their team. Ninetales is phenomenal currently. But yeah, I think these are some really great picks that we definitely expected. Great pick with Inteleon. We just got a patch last night with a lot of buffs and nerfs. And one of those Pokemon that did get buffed is the Inteleon. So I think that is a great first pickup for this purple team over here.
Yeah, and we're going to see who's our fifth on the orange. I'm going to be locking in Sylveon and Dragapult, and then it looks like Wildcard's going to take Venusaur, and it looks like hovering over a Delphox, but with a last-minute swap, could it be Cinderace? It is going to be Cinderace getting locked in. Cinderace is so interesting because, we've seen it kind of rise and fall in meta usage, and now with that Cinderace locked in on purple, we're going to see the final pick, and it looks like Delphox is going to get locked in on the side of who's our fifth. So with that being said, I'm so excited to see, which Pokemon ends up kind of going central, or two Pokemon going into central area with a really fun setup like attackers only. It really flips your typical metagame on its head. And so I'm really excited.
Mhm.
What do you think about these two just overall team comps?
Well, I think Who's Our Fifth has a little bit more of a well-rounded attacker comp
Mhm.
here. They've got that Mew and that Pika that, will have really good early games. They don't need to really prioritize getting those evolutions because they don't evolve. Sylveon being able to evolve at level 4, getting that Unite move at level 8 is going to be really, really huge. Whereas you look at the wild cards and they have some very great picks on their Pokemon, but they are dealing with 4 Pokemon that have, or I'm sorry, 3 Pokemon that have that three stages to them. So yeah, just getting those levels and trying to get online as they quick or as they possibly can, as quickly as they possibly can, is going to be really important for wild cards. But right now, I definitely think that Who's Our Fifth has just a little bit more well-rounded picks here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the Mew is also a really good call because Inteleon has such a large amount of range. And so Mew is also going to be able to match that range right there. So it looks like we're almost about to get started. We can appreciate the nice hollow air from all of these Pokemon as we go. And yeah, it's going to be a very fun set of matches for today. Gosh, I love seeing Ninetales in action, so I'm excited to see Ninetales. I'm excited to see Inteleon. This is going to be my personal first time getting to watch Inteleon in action in a tournament, and so with 10 seconds on the clock, here we go. We're getting started. We can see it that Bulbasaur and Sobble are going to be over on the bottom lane. We've got Cramorant taking the central area over on purple, with Dragapult taking it over on the orange side.
Yeah, I actually do think that's a really interesting choice there, having the Cramorant go into jungle. I would have thought that they would have sent any of their 3-stage mons, aside from Inteleon. Inteleon actually has, or Sobble rather, has a really great secure in the early game, I find. And so, yeah, I'm just really surprised not to see the Cinder or the Venusaur in the jungle at this moment. But these are pro players. I trust that they know what they're doing, and I can't wait to see how this unfolds.
Definitely. And as we hit that 9-minute mark, we're seeing a little bit of that song and dance, trying to get as much experience as possible. We're going to see that Vulpix turn into a Ninetales as all of the Pokemon are just hiding here for this first set of Altaria. Just as quickly as they spawn, they're going to get blasted away with a ton of experience going over to the purple side. We can see each team really respecting one another here, not trying to get too aggressive too early on, because you do not want to get that early level, you don't want to give that early level advantage to the other sides. We're seeing a little bit of pokes here and there, but really just focusing on that experience.
Yes, and speaking of that experience, we are seeing Cramorant, the jungler, getting to that level 6 pretty quickly, leveling up very nicely. But this is, early game. This is anybody's game here. We're just gonna see the same old song and dance that we always see here in this early game. Just some HP poking, trying to take wild Pokemon from one another, trying to get those levels as quickly as these teams possibly can before these objectives start popping up on this map.
And with the next set of Altaria, we're going to see a bit of a battle breakout here in this central area. And we're seeing Pikachu getting a little bit low, but with the support of that Delphox and Sylveon, I'm going to be able to stay nice and safe in the back there, have that bit of backup as we take a look over as there's a rotation coming up to the top path. We're going to see a score come into play as we do see Ivysaur trying to take down that view. And then we see, we're again, kind of pushing towards that goal, but now backing away.
Yes, and wow, the top tier one already being broken at this time. Now, not sure whether or not Who's Our Fifth is going to prioritize going for that lucky or not, given that that tier one is gone. And breaking that top lane could be very valuable for them. But we'll just have to see what spawns here in this bot lane. It does look like we have most of both of these teams here in this bot lane. So that is going to be the priority. And here we go. It is a Regice in the bot lane.
Yes, with Regice has spawned right here, and we could see, Wildcard's just trying to get that little bit of experience, waiting for some teammates. It looks like Dragapult is going to be staying up at the top lane, but the rest of the Pokemon are kind of making their rotation down. Cramorant getting into a little bit of trouble, but does manage to get away right here. And, we are seeing, a slow rotation down over here, not trying to get caught out or isolated right here. So you can really see, some good zoning out. And you know what? Dragapult is able to secure that Regilucky, but, that's going to be ignored right now. Instead, Wildcard's going for this. Regice poking at it, and it looks like Sylveon in a bit of trouble, going to use that Unite move to stay alive. And then we're going to see the Pikachu take the KO onto that Ninetales. Cramorant's going to go down as Regice is getting lower and lower. We're going to see Delphox, and it is going to get secured right there by that Pikachu. So that is going to be great for Orange to be able to push over and try and take this first goal zone.
Absolutely huge for Who's Our Fifth. Look at these levels. They got that Dragapult level 10. They're breaking bases left and right, just doing amazing as a team here. And they didn't even need to utilize all their Unite moves for that engagement down there in the bot lane. So Who's Our Fifth still has many Unite moves online. They got that Pikachu on their team, which is going to be able to spam that Unite move so often. It's going to be absolutely useful. And wow, seeing that Pikachu getting away with those buffs from that central area. Wow, Who's Our Fifth is absolutely cooking.
Absolutely. And we can see the score right now, 262-2-0. But while Wildcards does not have the level advantage, they're not too far behind. So as we kind of get into this mid-game, it's far from over right here. It's going to be more about kind of taking a step back, getting that experience, and really staying together as a group, not wanting to get caught out. So we can see this Dragapult right here, trying to pick damage, but is in a bit of trouble right now. Not going to be able to take that 3v1 as it gets KO'd. The rest of the team coming to help out. Pikachu going to get into a bit of trouble, but is Pikachu going to get away? No, Inteleon is going to solidify that KO. That range is just incredible right here. So we're going to see another KO onto the Ninetales. Sylveon in a little bit of trouble, but Mew able to grab that KO.
All right, and now that there's more wild Pokemon that have spawned on the map, this is Wildcard's opportunity to try to catch up to the levels that Who's Our Fifth is currently sitting at. They are doing really great with levels, getting those 11s online. They got so many Unite moves ready to use for this next upcoming objective. So Wildcard just really needs to find opportunities for them to gain some experience. That's why we saw them kind of fighting there in that central area. They didn't have any farm on their map, and so they needed to find some experience somehow. So that's why we saw them trying to go for any overextended picks like that Dragapult that we saw. And here we go, Reggie Ice getting secured by wild cards. It's going to be really huge for them. Again, just having them getting that experience wherever they can on this map is going to be extremely important for them in order for them to bring the fight to Ray.
The range on that secure was awesome. We're gonna see another KO onto the Inteleon, allowing this Sylveon to score into. Is the score gonna get stopped? Look, the score was stopped. Is Regieleki over on the top path is putting a ton of pressure over on Wildcard's side right now. We can see Cramorant working to get rid of this Regieleki, but Dragapult continuing to add that pressure and continue to do damage. Regieleki so good at just being that extra teammate to distract, do damage, while we can see the rest of Who's Our Fifth just again focusing on the central farm and just getting that experience right here. And so we do see that the score is currently 262 to 90. There's about a minute left until that Rayquaza. So it's just a lot of pivoting going on with these teams right now. So with the just pure amount of DPS that both of the teams have right now, we can see a lot of just quick, almost, quick tactics of going in, trying to get those knockouts, and then backing up because you don't really have that sustain to keep you in very long team fights.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And we are seeing levels kind of even out a little bit here. Wildcards losing their tier ones wasn't exactly that big of a deal for them because it does allow them to get some farm and try to catch up with those levels as best as they possibly can. So we are seeing the Sylveon for Who's Our Fifth at a level 13, but we do have Cinderace for Wildcards at a level 13 as well. So that's going to be really great that both of these teams have a level 13 going into this fight here. Venusaur being a level 10, it's a little bit of a feels bad. There they go. They do have that level 11, so that's good. But yeah, you definitely want to try to have that Venusaur as a level 13 for a Rayquaza fight. But it is a Venusaur, so that's going to be amazing for Secures on their side here. But here we go. We are moving in to the Rayquaza fight here. Both teams getting into position, and now we wait for that initial engagement.
Oh, the most suspenseful part of the fight, but not right now for the Cinderace. The Cinderace gonna get a bit caught out, but gonna be able to use that Unite move to stay alive, get a little bit of HP back, and the fights are breaking out. So we're seeing a ton of zoning coming in from Who's Our Fifth, and we're gonna see the knockout after knockout come onto purple side. That's gonna be a huge 5 KO so quickly, and that is going to be a huge advantage here to being able to take out their Rayquaza. I don't think there's gonna be enough time for Wildcards to get back in time, and that's the secure. That was such quick movement. Oh my gosh, Who's Our Fifth saw that moment to capitalize on a KO and just continue to collapse onto the team. And so go, go, go. I think we're about to see a ton of hundo burgers.
Oh yes, absolutely. We love the good vibes here in this bot lane. Venusaur trying to dance around. I think they understand, that's game. Had a little bit of a rough first game, but there's a lot to learn here in this first game. So Wildcards can adapt in a lot of different ways here, mess around with their comp a little bit. Maybe take the support peak on their team, maybe put some evolutions on their team, that way that they can have a little bit more well-rounded of a team comp and that they don't have too many Pokemon that require so much experience.
Right, definitely. At this point of the game, it's going to be really tough, for Wildcards to come back. But I really appreciate you go for the style points, right? You keep on scoring, and it's not over until it's over. You've got 20 seconds left. We're going to see that final goal break, and this is a really great opportunity to take that time, like you were saying, to think about while you're playing how you're going to adjust going into that next game, and you get a little bit of an idea of what you're going to go into next time with these final seconds here. But it does look like right now with these last 5 seconds that Who's Our Fifth is going to be our victors for our Anniversary Series Game 1.
Congratulations, Who's Our Fifth, on winning the first game of the series for the night. But these are best of 3, so there is still so much more to come. Not to mention wildcards. I'm sure that this first game was a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn here, and there's definitely going to be a lot of adjustments going into this game too. So I am so excited to see how things shake up even more going further into this tourney.
Absolutely. We could take a look at the graphs here, and the KOs as we get into the battle data. But you can see MVP on Sylveon. Sylveon is just so versatile, especially in a format like this where you can really run either build. And we can take a look at look 9 KOs, which is huge. And looking at these damage spreads right here, we also saw a lot of recovery coming out from Sylveon as well, thanks to that Unite
Hmm.
move. And while there wasn't an overwhelming amount of damage coming out from wild cards, it still was really spread. The team sticking together, and we could do see a nice 69,000 coming from the Sylveon.
Yeah, I think also too, I feel like this might be a theme that we see tonight. We might see low damage numbers all throughout the game because a lot of these attackers are very squishy when you don't have those
Hmm.
defenders or your bulky all-rounders that can sustain. When you don't have them in those fights, it's a lot more difficult to be able to dish out that damage. So, for the rest of the night, we actually might not see crazy damage numbers. We'll just
Right.
have to see what happens. But to see that 69K on the Sylveon was actually pretty incredible. I Those were some amazing stats right there.
For sure. And either way, I think that was a really fantastic first showcasing of just the power that these attackers have. And, immediately the biggest difference I saw was just the sheer amount of quick attacks. And even in those last 2 minutes, the way when there was an opportunity to get that first KO, the entire team jumped around it, grabbed that KO. And, that's the thing. You don't have that defense to kind of build up. So I've been seeing a lot of ranged fighting, especially. And, if you're going in
Mhm.
for melee, you got to back up really quickly. So that was really interesting to see how quick these team fights were, as opposed to when you do have your more supportive and tankier builds that can kind of draw out fights a little bit longer.
Yes, yes, that was also really interesting to see happen in these matches. I think it's so incredible just how different these matches are compared to like what we would normally see when there's defenders, all rounders, and supports at play. So it's really, really exciting, and I can't wait to see what kind of comp Wild Cards throws at us this next game. I think we're gonna see a little bit. Some changes for sure. Again, I just really loved how Who's Our Fifth had that support Pikachu with the experience share. They had that Sylveon level 4 evolution into Sylveon, and then having that Unite move at level 8 and being able to use it at that first objective was absolutely huge. I believe it was the Sylveon and the Delphox that utilized their Unite move down there at that bottom objective. And so if you can win that first engagement, it really gives you a lot of experience to continue moving forward throughout the game. And then also them being able to break that top tier 1 and have the Dragapult getting that Regieleki to send to the tier 2 right at the beginning. The first set of objectives was just absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. And so, Curly, while we prep for this next game, I have to ask you, given this new format, is there a Pokemon that we don't always get to see, but you would love to see shine? Not necessarily because of its extra supportive use or utility, but one that maybe doesn't normally get to shine that would be really fun in this format to get to see play.
I was really excited to see Melody on the Cramorant. Cramorant
Yeah.
has been banned from tourneys for such a long time. And then even when it was allowed, it just seemed like a lot of people weren't playing it.
Hmm.
So I just really love seeing Cramorant. I think it's really exciting to see something that you haven't seen in such a long time. It's very refreshing. It's very different. And so I loved seeing that in action. I am a big Cram fan. Granted, I am a defender main, so I don't usually play attackers very often, but that's definitely one of my favorite attackers. And then, just obviously not having any evolutions. It's a really great mon to have in the early game.
Right, absolutely. I so agree. This was not the year for Cram. Maybe next season we'll get to see more Crammer, but it's so wonderful when we get to see Cram right here. I was very excited to see Ninetales, and I felt like Ninetales did get to add a lot of
Mhm.
utility in that last match. I'm trying to think if there's there's so many Pokemon in Unite, and also just move sets too that we just don't normally get to see. And so it's just so exciting when you get a chance to kind of watch these Pokemon come to light. And that's the beautiful thing about these tournaments is it's a great time, for teams to experiment with each other and their team synergy and figure out, oh, maybe, we didn't get to see, we did not get to see, Glaceon in this term because of the bans and whatnot. And that's going to be something else to think about going into this next game, given that the draft order is going to be a little bit different. And are we going to see the same bans or maybe a ban after how that game one went?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to mention too, we did just get a patch last night that came with some buffs and nerfs, and I was reviewing it before the tourney today, and there really wasn't much done with attackers. So I really don't think that that patch is going to affect this tourney that much. Inteleon did get buffed, and I actually thought Inteleon was pretty good as is. So I think we're definitely going to see a lot of that. Really excited to see those buffs in action and seeing if it, if it's something that I need to worry about in my solo queue games. You know what I mean?
Right.
Duraludon as well. I feel like occasionally, in rank, I'd run into a Duraludon here and there, but I feel like it's one of those Pokemon that we actually don't see very often. In competitive, I know I got 2 moves. The cooldown was reduced. Not exactly sure what else happened to it, but I would love to see that played out a little bit as well, just so that I can see like how these buffs have affected these Pokemon.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we talked a lot earlier about, Pikachu that has a really supportive build in Ninetales, but, none of these attackers are, very bulky, anything to really match a defender. But I am curious about a play style in which, you assign a Pokemon to be more of a frontline. I don't really think we saw in that last game that style of play. And I'm curious if that is going to be viable at any point during this tournament to kind of have, a Pokemon specifically more on the front line, or if you really do have to keep everyone, back a certain amount of distance and be very calculated in how you make your movements. But I don't know, is there an attacker out there that can pretend to be a defender?
Right. I think the closest thing that we could get to a defender, and this is gonna sound crazy, but really, Sylveon. I mean, we saw it last game. It was able to tank a decent amount. It was able to heal itself a decent amount and stay in that fight. It's definitely like more of a frontline kind of Pokemon. I mean, it has a little bit of range, but it's not like, crazy range on it. It is a little squishy, but being able to pop that Unite and have that life steal from the Unite, I think, that's probably going to be your best bet for the sustaining of Pokemon in the front line there, which is close to defender as we probably will get, but we'll see. There's probably some Pokemon that I'm not thinking of that we could see play today where I'm like, oh wow, that's actually a very tanky attacker. So we'll just see what happens from here.
Ooh, and from the bans, it looks like there is going to be an adjustment off the fly. We see Inteleon getting banned on the side of Who's Our Fifth, and over on the right team, Wildcards continuing to ban out Glaceon. So now we do get to see Greninja come into play. I'm so excited to see Greninja because, you hear a lot about Greninja in, solo queue games, but in a format like this, I do think that Greninja does have a chance to shine and can be very, very powerful. We're going to get Pikachu and Mew over on the other side get locked in right here, and Sylveon over on purple.
Yeah, so already we're seeing a lot of changes happening with wildcards. They are picking up that Pikachu and Mew, so that's going to be really great for them here in that early game. They didn't have either of those picks on their team from the last game, so I think that's going to be really great for them. Again, I just think they had way too many Pokemon that required a lot of experience, and that made things a little bit rough for them in that early game. And yeah, so I really like these changes. I think it's going to work out really great for wildcards, and I really hope that they're able to send it into a game 3 with this new comp.
Absolutely. And when you can't use Inteleon, another ranged option, Decidueye getting locked in by Can't Stop Them. We're going to also see Purple finalize with a Dragapult and a Cram. I mean, we saw the power of both those Pokemon last game. They're coming back for game 2. Delphoc's going to get locked in by Pew Pew, and we're going to see Ninetales and Venusaur coming back in. So I really liked what you said. Definitely more of a rounded out set of teams right here. And now with these final preparations, we're going to see who is going to end up on which build. And really, even if the same movesets come back going into this game too.
Yes, so excited to see this match unfold. Now, for those who might be just now joining us and looking at these comps, you might be like, huh, this looks like my solo queue games. These are all attackers. What is going on? This is the open series for the NA region. And for the Unite Battle Hub anniversary month, we have challenged different regions with different comps. And so this is attacker assault. That is why you are seeing so many attackers here being chosen. So yeah, just keep that in mind going into these matches here. And oh, we have a gold badge Mew. I remember the days of Mew whenever it first got released, and those Mew players are pretty scary.
Oh my gosh, definitely. Mew, I mean, still to this day, Mew is such a threat. Whenever I see a Mew, I know to run. The solar beam is intense. There's so
All
much
right, I
utility
think
just
we
being able to
may.
move.
Steph, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Hello?
Okay, now I can hear you. So
Oh,
sorry, I don't know
good.
what happened there.
No worries. No worries. I'm glad that you can hear me. Hopefully everything's still going well. Chat, of course, let us know
Mhm.
if at any point something goes wrong, if Steph goes into the void or if Curly goes into the void, please let us know and we can come out on top to be able to cast these awesome games. And here we go. Game 2 getting ready to begin. So if you missed it, who's our fifth? Now on the purple side, wildcards over on the orange side right here. So we can see we've got the soon-to-be Dragapult and Cramorant taking that bottom area. We are going to see Froakie heading into that central area to get those early levels and playing that central player. We're going to see that Fennekin and Vulpix taking the top path over on orange, and we are going to see Rowlet and Eevee over on the other side. So Venusaur are going to be playing the central area over on orange right here, and we can see a very quick evolution from that Froakie into that Frogadier in this early game right here. So, Pikachu here supporting me. You can see just how close these two are staying to be able to support one another in these early parts of the
Mhm.
game.
Yes, I love seeing the experience share. Pikachu, I just it's not something that I really understood at first, but in situations like this, it makes a lot of sense. And we're also seeing that Cram running around with the experience share as well. That's another thing I think it's really interesting how these teams are utilizing items for all attacker teams. So obviously, you definitely want to have at least one experience share in a lane. And so looking at their options for that, I definitely approve the Cram, the Pika wearing it. For this situation, of course, definitely want to recommend an experience share Cram in your solo queue games or really any games outside of an attacker tourney, really. But here we are. We are not seeing the little Dragapult be coming into a Dragapult quite yet. But we are seeing some jungle invading going on the side of the orange team here. Not sure if the Sylveon is able to get away with any of the. It is wearing buffs, and it wasn't the jungler, so I think it was able to get away with those buffs, stealing some experience from Team Wildcards.
What a smooth getaway from that Sylveon. That was so close. And you could just see it from the remaining health. That was a bit of a
Mhm.
battle. We've got a bit of a ninja Sylveon being able to go in, invade, take those buffs. And that's going to be a huge advantage for this side of who's our fifth right there going in as we kind of prepare for this first Reggie that's going to be spawning in about 16 seconds. We're going to see the fight over the next set of Altaria. A ton of experience going over to orange. We did see purple be able to get a little bit right there as we see on also the top path. Decidueye is getting a couple of scores in here while the majority of the team has rotated down to the bottom. Sylveon once again looks to kind of be invading or playing very forwardly aggressive. Going to try and take those buffs while that objective is going on. That is a very brave play, Curly. How are you feeling about this?
That is very interesting. I'm also noticing Mystical Fire, Experience Share,
Mhm.
Defender, Sylveon. So it looks like they actually are playing Sylveon as like that front line, that tank, kind of not position because they're not here in this team fight here, but the build so far is looking very tanky for that Sylveon. So that I really like that coming from that team. But lots of pressure happening on this bottom tier one. We did see the Decidueye securing that Regieleki in the top lane, and it is going for the tier 2. But there is a massive fight happening here in this bot lane here. Unfortunately, Wildcard's getting massively chunked here, so they are forced to back up to their tier 1 and go back to farming.
Oh, this is looking a little tough for wild cards. Both objectives secured by Who's Our Fifth. We are going to see the Unite move pop out from Decidueye. Excellent placement, going to take the KO onto Pikachu, and we do see Sylveon and Decidueye going to be able to grab that. It's not going to bring the goal completely down yet, but that looks like to be a pretty decent overcap of at least 20 right there. So tons and tons of pressure putting on the side of wild cards, really forced to retreat, but also having to now deal with this Regieleki. You know, usually with Regieleki, it's okay for that tier 1 goal to go down, but you really don't want to allow Regieleki to kind of go into those later goals because it's going to make things really, real difficult. This Sylveon Kersey is rocking going into this invade and being rewarded. We're going to see the Spirit Shackle go in to kind of help and grab that KO onto the Mew. This is huge. The aggression we are seeing is wild.
Oh, and the Sylveon does go down. That is the end of their central area invasion there. Meanwhile, while Sylveon was distracting Team Wildcards, the rest of their teammates were trying to get in some dunks in that bottom tier 2 there. So well played from Sylveon. Not sure if that was intentional at all, but that was really great observation from the rest of their teammates, noticing that majority of wildcards was in that central area, and that would have been a perfect time for them to get those scores in right there. Now, while wildcards is pressuring this top tier 1, we are going to see that Dragapult getting taken out. Team Who's Our Fifth is securing that bottom Registeel, which is going to be absolutely huge for them with the buffs and the shields that they get from that. Now, Team Wildcards definitely getting some picks there as they battle for this Regieleki.
Wow, I loved seeing that split push there. There was so much going on just in those couple of seconds right here. So, you know, we are in the mid game right now, so Regieleki is up, but it doesn't seem to be that big of a priority. And, you know, if you were to ask me 30 seconds ago, I was going to be saying that wildcards, you know, needed to get more experience, but it looks like they've been doing just that in this time. So really the level, the level discrepancy between these two teams isn't really that big anymore, which is going to be huge for Wildcards, who is a bit behind right now. The score is 282-109. We can see it right now, Purple hovering over this Regieleki, going to be taking it on, while again Wildcards is focusing on trying to keep those levels even. And we can also see both teams have their Unite moves, and that Regieleki is going to get secured by Greninja.
Unfortunately, Sylveon looks like they might get caught out here, but not before they unite and take out the Mew with their Fairy Frolic Unite move there. And they're going to go ahead. Oh, they were stopped from the score. That would have been such a huge score for them, lowering that for a giant overcap. But the Desi trying to get some slides, trying to save the Sylveon, but it's just not enough. The Venusaur going hard with the Petal Dance, taking out the Decidueye. And now they're going to have to go get HP, and then come back with their team for the next engagement.
Oh my goodness. Things are ramping up as we get into this end game right here. You know, we do see that 384 lead, but there is still also one more objective that's going to be coming in 14 seconds. There is barely enough time, if enough Pokemon are there at the start of it, to be able to take it down, which it does look like that Cramorant and Dragapult are going to be there watching it right here, as it looks like there's a rotation happening on the side of Orange. Not sure yet if they're going to be going for it, but Dragapult is going to be heading over to this Regirock, which is going to be the last Reggie before the Rayquaza here, doing a ton of damage. And we do see Greninja here to finish and clean that up, as it does get secured by Who's Our Fifth. That's going to be huge going into this fight now, having those buffs, and it's going to make it really tough for Wildcards to have to make a move here.
Yes, definitely. Also, looking at Who's Our Fifth levels, look at that Decidueye and that Greninja, level 13 going into this Ray fight. Now, Wildcards does have a level 13 Venusaur, and I love it. You definitely want that Venu being 13, but with Who's Our Fifth having two 13s, this is going to be an insane match here. There we go. We got Pikachu using their Thunderstorm, trying to take out the Dragapult, and was successful with it as well. Wildcards just tumbling down like dominoes, just getting knocked out left and right, and it's an entire team wipe coming from Who's Our Fifth on Team Wildcards, and now they're going to be able to secure this Rayquaza and finish off this set of games.
Oh, it is party time as we are about to see dunk after dunk come here, but there is still a minute and a half, so we never like to call it too soon because half the battle is, of course, getting those in, and we are going to see Decidueye be able to score, bringing a huge lead to 476 as we do see a Jade not looking too high on HP, but is still going to try and, break those shields. We're going to see damage after damage come here. This is going to be a tough one, and I think that's going to be who's our fifth going into continuing in this tournament. But wow, what a set of games. Greninja gonna keep going for that Venusaur right there, but is it gonna get the KO right there? Yep. Wait, oh, that was Pikachu getting the KO right there onto the Greninja.
Ooh.
Oh.
Support Pika? I don't think so. That Pikachu is cooking up a storm this game. That Pikachu has actually been doing really good. I'm a big Pikachu fan, and I've loved seeing the support Pika being played in both of these two games here. There we go again, the Thunderstorm, the Electro Ball going out from the Pikachu, trying to, just end the game is strong, just keep pushing, keep doing whatever you can, pad those stats, get some higher damage. I love the energy coming from this push here from Wildcards. Amazing plays from both teams. But who's our fifth? I think they had some very strong picks and some good players on those picks.
Absolutely. GG's. Congratulations to who's our fifth for continuing on in our first set for the Anniversary series, the attacker assault that we've got this weekend. Final score ending up 476 to 213, but it was a battle and Wildcards did not go down without a fight. I think especially we saw so much from Venusaur this game, and I think that that pedal dance really went really far with sustaining, keeping that damage, but really it was just difficult to see Wildcards get those secures with some of those objectives, which I think was pretty pivotal. We're going to see MVP Decidueye with those snipes, with those spirit shackles, and the scores don't show it, but Kersey had some really awesome plays as well. There was just so much to point out in that game that happened that it's just tough to kind of point it all out. But wow, that was awesome. So we do see, of course, Mad Melody on the MVP, and let's take a look at our damages. We've got 60,000 being the most coming from that Greninja, and we do see 40,000 about from Jade the Pikachu. So, we are seeing on that recovery, lots of sustain from Venusaur, but Sylveon, just like what we saw with last game, with its Unite move and just with, its Mystical Fire build, it was able to have a ton of recovery.
Yes, I definitely think the Sylvia and the Venusaur are going to be massive picks here throughout the rest of this tourney because they are able to sustain so much better than other attackers. So yeah, I think we're definitely going to see a lot more of that. We may even see some bans on them at some point because of how valuable they are in an attacker tourney like this.
Absolutely. And, Inteleon was banned out this game, but I think Decidueye did a really good job kind of playing that similar role that Inteleon does have, being able to kind of come in from afar, utilize that range. So that was really fun and really interesting to see. When it comes to games like this, I saw it was pretty similar in that, you have to really, take those moments to kind of build momentum with these games. These games have been all about momentum. The moment you have a one Pokemon lead, you're kind of able to use that to kind of bring out. And we saw just how quickly that Rayquaza, got taken out as soon as all 5 Pokemon got taken out.
Yes, agreed. So, well, what do you think, Steph? What do you think that we will see moving forward from here as far as these comps go?
Oh man, so I feel like that was a really great start. So I think we started to see just the sustain power of Pikachu and Ninetales and now Venusaur also coming into play. So I like what you said about seeing some different bans here. So rather than banning necessarily the most powerful attackers, I think banning the attackers that have the most versatility. It'd be really interesting to see a Sylveon ban come in next game. But we have so much more Unite action coming in with this Anniversary series. And do we have Kanashi back with us? I don't know if we do or if we'll have Kanashi back with. Not yet, I was told. So friends, we're going to have a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have more casting action for you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unite, a Battle Hub Open Series for the NA region. This is Attacker Assault, and I'm Curly Cute, joined by Steph Anime and Kanashi as well, and we're going to be your casters for the rest of this evening. Kanashi, you were behind the scenes during those last couple of matches. What do you think about these tourneys so far?
I do think that we have that whole discussion right now between, do you pick a team that gives you the utility that you normally get when you have a support or defender Pokemon with you, or do you just go with straight damage, which is exactly what we saw moving into game number 2. And yeah, it's Who's Our Fifth decided to go with, okay, let's pick up Pokemon that we need to initially hold people, and then they're just like, no, we're just gonna pick Greninja. Greninja's the answer. We'll just run them over with that. So I think that is the big debate in the head that the teams have to decide on. It's like, do you just go straight damage, or do you go to try to hold the team down? But overall, great match, a good barometer for what we're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the tournament. So really looking forward to what these new teams are going to go ahead and show us here.
Yes, I am so excited, and personally there's a few friends of mine that are on one of the teams, so I am so excited to watch our next set carry out here. Steph, is there any Pokemon that we haven't seen yet that you're just like, we need to see this played?
Ooh, you know, I'm gonna pick Glaceon just because I love Glaceon, and I think, you know, Sylveon has really gotten to shine so far, and you know, Glaceon is seen a lot, you know, in Pokemon Unite, but you know, it did have a couple of changes in some recent patches, so you don't always see it as much anymore, and it is letting some other special attackers get to shine. But I'd love to see a Glaceon, especially with this type of format, which build, you know, if you're gonna go Icicle Spear or Icy Wind, which would better kind of help out your opponents in this kind of format. So I think I'm gonna go Glaceon here just because I love it so much.
Yes, definitely can't. Sometimes we just can't resist picking our favorites, you know. Kanashi, what about you? What are you super excited to see played tonight?
I feel like everything that we mentioned in the early show of Pokemon that probably will be first pick got first picked. I mean, Mew is still that Swiss Army knife of a Pokemon. Pikachu being that support Pika that we've seen even in competitive, and so on and so forth. But yeah, once again, Chandelure and Espeon won't be seen at all. Those are the 2 blanket bans that we have for today. Still interested in seeing the other 2 that we haven't seen yet. Everybody else has been picked except Glaceon, Gardevoir, and Duraludon. So pretty good variety so far. But I don't know if we'll see the Inhaler or Gardevoir show up. Hopefully we do. It just gives us a little bit of a variety, but we'll see what these 2 teams have in mind, and if they have a game plan for this new Pokemon. Would love to see it executed.
I especially would just love to see some Duraludon being played, especially since it just got some buffs last night. So I think that would be really interesting to see that worked into one of these comps, but we'll have to see. I think I'm just expecting more Sylveon, Venusaur. Those 2 Pokemon especially seem so good because of their sustain, and just being able to get health while they are fighting is so valuable. And then again, just balancing your team, making sure that you don't have a bunch of Pokemon that require those, you know, 3 stages, making sure that you throw in, you know, the Mew, the Pikachu, Pokemon that, you know, can thrive in that early game to help balance everything out there. I am so excited. I think this next set is going to be absolutely incredible. I'm sure both of these teams, they were probably watching the last set of games, so they probably, you know, hopefully have learned some things, took note of, you know, the bans in place, and took note of, you know, the comps that everybody is running, and just acknowledging what is working for everybody and what's not working. So I cannot wait to see these 2 teams go head to head. It's going to be such an incredible match. Well, before we get into it, let's see, what else can we talk about here?
We could remind everyone also about the other series to look out for the remainder of July, which is very exciting. So don't miss out on the next Double Trouble and Copa Galactica. If you haven't signed up for those tournaments, it's your last chance to get involved before Pokemon World. So definitely make sure you're staying up to date on all the Unite Battle Hub socials, but get in on these final July tournaments. It's an awesome chance for teams to try out new compositions, to, build that team synergy, or just have fun, before the season kind of comes to the close at the end of August.
Yes, those will be the last two tourneys before we, jump into our worlds and then head into the off season. So this is going to be really exciting. I'm going to go ahead and head behind the stage here and let Kanashi and Steph take it away. Enjoy the match, everybody.
Hi, Curly. Hello, Kanashi.
Hello, hello. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see how this ends up playing out. Once again, hopping into our first quarterfinals match, Waba Threats versus Community Jungle. Let's see what the first bans are. We'll see what these two teams definitely want to prioritize. We see the one Crustle as a meme, but overall, it's looking like the Mew and the Decidueye are going to be the bans for this game.
Ooh, not surprised. Decidueye was a force to be reckoned with that we saw last game. Decidueye's Spirit Shackle just hurts so much, and then that incredible range as well. Ninetale is going to be the first Pokemon locked in this go around, and we're seeing a hover over Inteleon and Delphox. So Inteleon's got a ton of range, but Delphox does as well, and Delphox has a lot of crowd control as well with its fanciful fireworks. So really nice pick seeing right out the gate.
Yeah, we'll see what they end up going out with here as we are scrolling through a couple of other Pokemon. Once again, it does come down to having the utility versus having the damage. And I like the way how this format plays out because you have to figure out what do we prioritize? Do we make sure that we can hold one Pokemon, kind of isolate out certain fights, or are we going for straight damage? And it looks like both these teams are starting to figure that out as they continue on through the draft here.
And I love Kanashi. I feel like you putting out into the universe which Pokemon we haven't seen yet. Now we do see Gardevoir. So slowly but surely, we're getting through seeing every attacker in Pokemon Unite get a chance to shine today. So we're going to see VMAX locking in that Gardevoir. We've got Sylveon and Venusaur finalizing purple side. Waba Threats rocking that purple team, of course. And Community Jungle on the orange team. Going to lock in Pikachu and Glaceon. Wow. Oh, wow. I feel like as casters, we've been honored with some of these picks today. We saw how powerful Greninja was last game. So this is going to be a fun one to see for sure. And we had a chance to speak with Psyche on Community Jungle before the game started. And I gotta say, I love the idea that the team name was Community Jungle because everyone deserves a chance in the jungle. The jungle belongs to everyone. I think that that's so cute and so fun. And so, Kanashi, how are you feeling about these two teams as a whole? Their comps, the way they're built. What are you thinking?
I do like the idea of what Waba Threats is kind of showing us here. They want to use the Sylveon's Hyper Voice to lower special defense and then just shred through them with as much damage as possible. Whether it's going to be the Solar Beam from Venusaur, some of the massive hits that could come out from Gardevoir. I feel like both of those are a good idea. And then we don't know if the A9 is going to be more support or not, but that is a very scary setup. But on the other side, you still have a lot of Pokemon that can hold people in place. You still have,
Mhm.
you have the Delphox Fire Spin as an option. You have Pikachu, but you have to respect the damage that is also coming out of this. So definitely a 50-50 here. That's just kind of how these attacker ones go. But I do feel like the most important thing that we've seen over the course of these couple of games is leveling. Whoever gets the better
Right.
leveling heading into the later part of the game ends up winning it out. And that's usually how Pokemon Unite works, but it really does make a difference when it comes to attackers and hitting that late game power spike.
Yeah, having those objectives secured makes a huge difference as what we've seen, in this tournament and overall in Pokemon Unite. But let's get into this action right here as our first game. We do have Waba Threats on purple, Community Jungle on orange team right here. And we could see a Fennekin just evolving in the central area on the orange side. And we're going to be seeing Ralts over in the central area on the purple side right here as we do see. You know what's so funny about Sobble is that when Sobble's invisible, it's hard for even me to see that Sobble's right there. So we do see Sobble being able to kind of go invisible there as we're seeing the early little bits of picks and pressure being applied. But as this is the early game, you know, the focus is on these little Bunnelbees getting those last hits, especially with that EXP share that we see.
Yeah, and you start seeing some of the rotations from the central area players making their way either up or down, but this is what they were looking for, is just to make sure that that second evolution is online, it's powerful, it's ready to go, and you start seeing some of the teams starting to shred up some of the Altaria and Swablu, and just kind of getting back to where they want to be.
And taking a look down over on the bottom path, a bunch of aggression coming out over here from Purple. Ninetales going to score a nice 17 points onto that goal right here. Sobble's looking a little low, not going to be able to dodge that. Hyper Voice is going to get KO'd right here as just more and more points kind of give Wobbuthreats that early lead.
Yeah, and that's a tough thing to have to deal with. Obviously, it's like there's 3 of them down there. You get hit with Hyper Voice, you start losing special defense, and even more damage coming out from the rest of the team. So Community Jungle starting to rotate down here, trying to back up their Sobble friend to make sure that they can go ahead and evolve into that Drizzile. And we'll see if that is going to help them out with their leveling. But as we slowly approach level 7, we're going to get our first Reggies and so on and so forth.
Definitely, but first a little skirmish happening here in the central area. Hyperforce gonna go on to Taco right there, but gonna be able to make it out of there in time. We can see control coming in from that Delphox, just trying to keep out, you know, this soon-to-be Inteleon. Sylveon making it out of a little bit of a scary situation right there. Galaxy gonna be able to grab a nice berry and kind of prepare, you know, down on this bottom path. Gonna be able to back up that Ninetales, get that KO on to that soon-to-be Inteleon.
Yeah, and they break that goal early. That is just for positioning sake to go ahead and get ready for this bottom Reggie, making sure that they are ready to go. But yeah, Drizzile, as we saw there, has that kind of stealth maneuver that it can get away with. Just making sure that it can get the last hit on some of these Pokemon that are very low, and utilizing that kit in order to get into the backline. So not only do you have to worry about being held up in the front, you also have to worry about where possibly Inteleon is going to be hiding.
Right, and you know, the first Reggie has appeared. It is a Reg Ice. We do see Galaxy and VMAX already onto this Regis, bringing it down to under half, but we do see, oh, okay, well, Gardevoir going to take that nice secure for Purple Team. I was worried there for a second, you know, with seeing Orange come up here. Fanciful Fireworks is going to be out there to kind of add some extra control, forcing a pushback from Purple Team.
Yeah, and you already see Community Jungle taking away the Reggie Eliki as well on top. And so a little bit more pressure going out there. They are going to go ahead and break that to go ahead and start things off. But that is the trade that they ended up giving, is bottom Reggie for top Reggie. And we'll see if they could get a little bit more space with either one.
As the next set of Altaria come out to play, we are going to see Glaceon unfortunately get taken down. Tons of it, you know, experience go to the side of Wobbuthreats, but we did see a tiny little bit go over to the orange side, as well as now both teams taking this opportunity to reposition and to get whatever remaining experience is kind of at the field at this point. Taking a look at this mid game, it's very close right now. It's 85 to 89, you know, lead to Community Jungle right now. And level wise, things are relatively close. Delphox is looking a little bit scary at level 10. So is that Greninja as well, as each Pokemon are starting to get their Unite moves. And there are definitely more Unite moves at the ready over on Community Jungle side. And so, let's see, right here, as both Pokemon are kind of heading into the middle area, another skirmish is about to break out. So we do see a bunch of pressure coming in. The Hyper Voice trying to push back Community Jungle, but tons of pressure with the Fanciful Fireworks going to be placed right onto the goal zone. Purple Team's going to have to get pushed back, but not before taking 2 KOs onto the Delphox and to the Pikachu. Inteleon going to try and make it out of there, but unfortunately is not going to take that Petal Dance from that Venusaur. But Greninja going to take out the Venusaur. It's just KO after KO. We're having a bit of toss and pass over here as we continue on. So friends who are watching at home, it seems that we're gonna have Kanashi back in just a minute. So I'm gonna be here talking about what's going on in the meantime, or maybe Curly's gonna come and be co-casting with me. Hi, Curly. Oh, Curly, I think you're muted.
There we go. I should be unmuted now. Alrighty, thank you everybody for bearing with us here. We do have some tech difficulties here, but what we do have is a bottom Regieleki here in this bot lane getting secured by the Ninetales here. That's going to be absolutely huge for them, especially considering that they were able to get 3 KOs while they were at it. So looking at these levels here, things are still fairly even for both teams here. The scores are extremely close, so we're going to head up here for this Regieleki and see what happens.
That bottom Reggie skirmish was so powerful, it just broke Kanashi's computer. Sometimes you have a Unite fight that just goes like that. That was intense. We saw the Unite moves flying, and now we do have the Regieleki. Oh no, poor Pikachu gonna get caught out right there and KO'd as we see Purple doing a really good job of sticking together and staying close, not wanting to get isolated out by one of them, but we do see Delphox hiding here in the grass, waiting for a moment to strike, but not before Inteleon is going to use its own Unite move, as well as moves start to kind of fly, forcing huge zoning to push back Purple team.
Alrighty, and yes, Orange team here is doing such a great job of keeping that space. There is the Delphox, fanciful fireworks. That way the Glaceon can continue ripping the Aleki, securing it, and now applying a pressure on to this bottom tier 1. So looking like most of the teammates from the Orange team are going to rotate down to get some scores in. Sylveon's going to meet up with them really quickly here in this bot lane to kind of get them to back off a little bit, buy some time for their team. So unfortunately, no points are going into this tier 1, but what an incredible secure and a fight there in that top lane.
Wow, I loved seeing what Greninja did there while so much was happening over the top path, you know, utilizing that to put pressure on the bottom path, forcing a bit of a split, but not the entire team was there to kind of fend off. So that was really great to see. We're going to see Regieleki entering that next goal zone right here. And with 30 seconds left, it is going to be on Wobbuthreats to kind of put the pressure here. But the final Reggie on the basement has spawned. It's going to be a Regirock. It looks like it's going to get secured by Community Jungle. It is going to be that Inteleon taking it for the rest of the team as the pivots continue back into the central area. Right now with 254 as the lead, you know, it looks like right now the team is kind of focusing slowly into the middle, but they're not really concerned with getting this Rayquaza right away.
No, they are not, especially when they are leading with those points there. And looking at these levels here, Community Jungle, obviously, you know, sharing that jungle with their team, able to get the Greninja and the Inteleon to level 13. Delphox, of course, no surprise there, with Scolded on the Delphox. It being that level 14 for this Ray fight is going to be incredible. So here we go. This is the engagement. Unite moves are popping up. The glacial stage from the Glaceon there. They are getting 2 KO, 3 KOs on Team Wobbuthreats there. Almost an entire team wipe. Just a Ninetales running around. But unfortunately, with Community Jungle being down a few teammates, not exactly easy for them to rip this at the moment. It's looking like they might take their chances, though. Scolded laying out the fanciful fireworks there. And who will get the secure? And it's the Ninetales securing it. I cannot believe this.
Oh my gosh, whoever said patience is a virtue is a genius, because that Unite move from Vumax just secured that Rayquaza, and now there's a chance for Wobbuthreats to come back and take this. Pikachu looking extremely low right here. We are going to see an attempt on that Unite move, but I think it just got suppressed right there and was not able to go off. We're going to see Taco looking really low, going to have to retreat back as scores are coming in. Now it's 185 to 254. The purple team is still behind, but with that, oh my god, there's only 1 point difference.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, Greninja gonna try and take out that Gardevoir with 1 HP, gonna have to retreat back, and oh my gosh, this is still anybody's game, Curly. Oh my gosh.
This is anybody's game. Wobbuthreats not having any ray shields on their team anymore. They need to figure out a score, or else they are going to lose this game by 1 singular point. I cannot believe what is happening here. Even though Community Jungle lost the Ray, still Team Wobbuthreats was not able to score enough in order to secure their win, missing it by just 1 singular point. I am at a loss for words.
Oh my gosh. By 1 point, there it is. Community Jungle going to take that game 1. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, we do see Rizkage on that Greninja MVP. Look at this scoreboard. It's tough what to say there. It really comes down to not giving up. And sometimes, you're reminded that in Pokemon Unite, it's not just about your skill in this game, but your mental fortitude to keep going even when things seem hopeless because that
Hmm.
Ninetales exhibited so much patience, was able to go in, take that secure, and grab that fight. But ultimately, you just needed that one final point. It's hard to say what could have been done better there because really it just came down to really great defense and and math skills.
Yes, honestly, incredible plays coming from both of these teams. Again, and Steph, you mentioned the patience coming from that Ninetales. Like, I can't imagine just sitting there thinking, like, oh, it's pretty much a 1v3 right now. The rest of the team is coming up to come and, help out with the Ray. Like, I'm just one Ninetales, but being able to get that secure was absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get enough scores in, but that was just amazing plays there, even though they did lose by the 1 point, and the defense coming from team community jungle. Incredible plays, everyone. This is such a wild match, and yeah. I'm just at a loss for words about how that
Honestly,
ended the game just went.
yeah, that right there is why I love Pokemon Unite so much because you can have the strongest lead, and it wasn't even this game was very neck and neck the entire time, but you could have the strongest lead possible, but you play your cards right at the end and you were able to take that comeback. Personally, for me, that's why I love Rayquaza over, we saw Zapdos in season 1, and I feel like Rayquaza's ability really does allow for these types of things to happen. You can get that Rayquaza secure, but you take out all the shields, and all of a sudden, it's still anybody's game. And in this case, it's a big reminder to that every little point, every little score counts, and being able to have a solid defense and keep even just 1 point from being scored, especially when they're doubled,
Mhm.
gives you games like that. Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very well played. And going into this next game, I have no idea what to expect. Usually there's one team that, clearly loses, and then one team that clearly wins. And you think, okay, well, losing team has to, change things. What's going to happen with this next match? I have no idea. Both teams could easily just keep playing what they played, because it wasn't a matter of, one team having a better comp than the other. It
Right.
was, like you said, it was neck and neck the whole entire time. And yeah, this next game is just, I have a feeling like it's going to be just as incredible as this next one. I think both of these teams are very equally matched, that's for sure.
Question is, who gets banned this go around? Because do you ban Ninetales purely out of your feelings of what happened that last game? It's tough. It's tough to say what's going to get banned out this go around,
Mhm.
and the teams are going to be swapping. So now Community Jungle will be on the purple side and get first pick with the Pokemon, and then
Mhm.
Waba Threats, which, by the way, I just love the name Waba Threats as well. I love the name Community Jungle because it makes me feel, like we're having a party in the central area. And then I love Waba Threats because the pun is so great. So honestly, top tier names for all the teams that are playing at Unite Battle Hub's tournament
Yeah.
today. But yeah, what do you think's gonna get banned out this time?
Let's see. Waba Threats, they banned the Decidueye, which I have a feeling could be a target ban on Taco, because I do know it's
Yeah.
Taco Bruh. He plays a lot of Decidueye. He's really great at it, but he's really great at really any long range attacker. So I feel like even if you ban the Decidueye again, he'll bring out his Glaceon. You ban Glaceon, he's gonna bring out Decidueye. Like, he has a lot of options,
Right.
and I know Taco has even more options outside of that as well. You got Scolded too, who we all know is a phenomenal player. Psyche, pretty flexible. She can play many different Pokemon. So yeah, it's just really, really exciting to see all this being played out. I have no idea what's gonna happen with bans. My personal guess, since there wasn't really any, like I said, there was no like this team really lost or this team
Right.
really run. It was so close. So I have a feeling that they could all just play the same thing, ban the same thing, and just, hope that things go better for one team or the other. So I'm not sure if we'll really see much changes. I'm actually curious on hearing from Kanashi. Maybe he'll have a little bit more insight about what he thinks will be in this next ban. But we'll just have to see. We were talking about Waba threats earlier and just the name. I would really love to hear from chat in the meantime while we get this next match set up. If Wobbuffet were to be added to Pokemon Unite, what role do you think it would be? I would just love to hear everybody's ideas.
I love that. Also, I love the idea of having Destiny Bond in Pokemon Unite. But it seems, while we talk about that and think about that, let's jump into the ban phase for our next match. So we are going to see this time Community Jungle over on purple side and Waba Threats on the orange side this go around. I gotta not think about Wobbuffet. That was a really great question. Now I'm just thinking about the entire time. Wow, Wobbuffet Unite would be so funny. Miracle? So many questions.
And we are seeing some new bands. So, this is that Delphox ban is definitely a target ban on Scolded. Respected. Definitely would expect a target ban for Scolded, since he used to be a competitive player and still is such a phenomenal player on that Delphox. He's known for that mon. So seeing that getting banned out definitely makes sense.
Definitely. And here we are going to see Inteleon being the first pick right here. Are you feeling it? Locking it in, securing it first. And ViewMax once again on that Ninetales. It worked so well last time. It's no surprise to see Max lock it in once again. And this time Galaxy going to take that Decidueye. And Greninja coming back, Monkey locking that in. And Taco and Pikachu this go around.
Yeah, Taco picking up the Pikachu. That's really interesting. I don't know if I've actually seen him play Pikachu. That's actually something I'm not familiar. He might be just locking it in so that way he can give it to one of his other teammates, but we'll just see what happens here. I'm getting a little skeptical of Community Jungle's team, mainly because they do have a lot of 3-stage mons aside from that Pikachu. And looking over at Waba Threats, they have a lot of evolutions on their team, so they're going to have a pretty good early game, especially if they can get those EVs to level 8 before the first objectives. That's going to be huge to have their Unite moves for those objective secures.
Oh my gosh, yes. And we are seeing Duraludon for the first time this stream getting locked in by Waba Threats. So with that, we have our finalized team comps as, the Pokemon get swapped to different players. With Glaceon and Ninetales, there is now the potential for this ice path in a lane, or, we could see if Emotional Aid is going to take that central area. With Decidueye, will it go to Duraludon? I can really see it going in a multitude of ways. So that's going to be really interesting to see as well. Tons of slick spoons on these special attackers here. We see it all on that Glaceon, on that Ninetales, on that Sylveon, and really, I think what you said earlier really made me remember that sometimes it's not about making huge adjustments going to the next game, but it's more about just playing, the same strategy, but, playing it with a little bit more cohesion, or, making your timing maybe 3 seconds faster, or delay your movements by a couple more seconds. And sometimes that's all you need to kind of turn the tides around. So we are going on to game number 2. So Community Jungle did take that game 1, and we're going to see if Waba Threats can take this next game to bring it over to a game 3.
And I do believe this is our first time seeing a Duraludon. I actually, for a second, almost said Wobbuffet reading the name. This is actually our first time seeing Duraludon in this tourney tonight. And as I mentioned before, it was one of the many Pokemon that got buffed last night. So really excited to see this Duraludon at play here, to see if, those buffs were actually worth it. But here we are in the early game here, Eevee trying to get in some stacks there, but unfortunately it's going to take a lot of damage, and they are going to be able to take out the Eevee there. That is an absolute huge pick there. So Duraludon just going to try to out-secure this farm from Community Jungle and try to buy some time while their teammate gets back up into that top lane.
Yeah, super aggressive play that unfortunately did not pan out. There is a silver lining when a knockout like that happens, that while you never want to give up early KOs to give your opponent the advantage, the lucky thing is it does allow you to come back for those first set of Altaria that are going to be in the middle. So sometimes if you're going to go down, you really want it to happen in those first 10 seconds or so, because otherwise, this way now you can see Sylveon is back here for the fight. Duraludon going to get that get KO'd by that Pikachu, and it does seem that we did see the score buddy unfortunately go down as well.
Amazing eject coming from a Psyche there, trying to lower that Sylveon's HP, but unfortunately, Pikachu just can't do enough damage quite yet. So backing off of that, trying not to get picked off. Pikachu is very squishy. Once it gets crowd controlled and caught out, it's probably gonna go down. And we are seeing a Monkey on the Inteleon here, trying to sneak a buff here, and also getting the pick on the Dartrix there. That's going to be absolutely huge. They do end up securing that buff for themselves. This Inteleon's going to be eating pretty good now that they got those buffs.
Absolutely. And sure, Orange Team does not want to see that, as we do see, unfortunately, Scorpion to get KO. Greninja going to take the KO on the Sylveon, though. That's 2 KOs on the side of Wobbuffets right there, and we are going to see some nice scores go in, some dunks, and that brings Monkey to a fully fledged Inteleon. Drizzile no more. Inteleon is here to play. We're going to see a push come in, though, from Orange to kind of push back Monkey. And Are You Feeling It, who is on that Greninja currently. There's 25 seconds for that first objective to spawn. Bit of a split going on right here. Rotation still hasn't happened yet, as try to clean up those Altaria, but Greninja going to take out that Duraludon right here and potentially try and take down this Glaceon. Gonna get a KO streak of 2. The damage on Greninja is just insane.
Yeah, Scolded on that Greninja is an absolute menace, getting so many picks on it and just doing incredibly well with it. Now, Community Jungle getting set up in this bot lane. Both teams actually getting set up for his Registeel. This is a huge objective here for both teams to try to secure. So here we are, just both teams kind of staying on their side. We do have Taco going in there into the back lane and getting those picks on the Glaceon, on the Ninetales, on the Duraludon, just taking everything down. Community Jungle is just absolutely dominating.
Ooh. You said it best, and the push continues as Are You Feeling continues to put little dunks and scores here where possible. Monkey gonna need to get out of the opponent's zone right there to avoid any sort of 2v1, 3v1 situation. But really, we can see the way Community Jungle is just able to get those little bits of points in. I mean, we saw last game how every single point counts. Regieleki is about to go down. Looks like Glaceon going to be able to secure that Regieleki right here, providing a nice distraction. But just as fast as Regieleki got secured, it is taken out. We could just see the power that Cinderace has, backed up by that Pikachu right here.
And Scolded was really close to getting a Penta. Unfortunately, only getting the 4 KOs, but that is absolutely massive, and we should expect nothing less from a player like that. Psyche trying to get away as quickly as she can. I'm actually really surprised she was able to get out of that after utilizing that Volt Tackle there, but absolutely huge. And looking at Community Jungle, they still have both of their tier 1s. Unfortunately, Wobbuffet's missing both of their tier 1s, but that's okay because there's this major game mechanic where if you lose your tier 1s, you get a ton of farm in those lanes there. So right now, we're just kind of seeing Wobbuffet playing it safe, trying to farm up as much as they can, especially considering they do have that Duraludon at a level 8, now a level 9, so it finally has its Unite move online. But looking at these levels here, this is a little bit rocky for Wobbuffet here. It's looking like Team Community Jungle is just able to play this map anywhere where they want, wherever they want.
Absolutely. Community Jungle also doing a great job zoning out Waba threats right here, not allowing them to get even close to this Reggie Rock, as we do see Risen Monkey taking down this Reggie Rock right here. Excellent positioning over from Community Jungle, able to nicely secure that buff right there through this mid game. It's looking a little tricky right now for Waba threats, just because we do see that Greninja's already at level 13. So that is a scary time to be facing Greninja right here, and the rest of the team is at level 11. They're not too far behind, but it's just really tough when that opposing central area player is that high up in levels.
Definitely. I will say Wabathras is doing a really good job of, keeping that focus on trying to get those levels up there, trying not to have too much of a level differential there. But this Cinderace is just really on the Sylveon. Sylveon utilizing their Fairy Frolic to be able to stay alive there. And it is enough to get the team to back off just a little bit. Now, Wabathras having really good positioning on this Alecki, but they do have a Decidueye going down by the Inteleon. There are lots of teammates from Wabathras getting knocked down, and it's almost a whole entire team wipe. Sylveon's in the bot lane. This Reggie Alecki is going to Community Jungle.
Oh, there was a lot going on in that match, as we do see Sylveon gonna try and score a nice 50, but stopped by Taco, and Taco looking to get that KO, and nope, Taco defending that tier 1 goal. No 50 dunks coming in today. This first goal is actually untouched at this moment right here, and we do see, on the other side, Orange going to be defending from that Regieleki, and there is so much pressure being put on by Community Jungle, which is exactly what you want to do when you have this advantage. You do not want to let the team catch up in levels, and you want to kind of keep putting that pressure wherever you can. So it's definitely far from over. There's 10 seconds left. There is enough time for this final objective, but it's going to be really tough for Wabathreats to push on this. So it makes sense for them to instead focus on kind of putting their position for that central area, but it's not going to be looking pretty for getting those extra buffs right here from this Registeel. It's going to be a huge attack buff going into this Rayquaza.
Yes, that is a really big Reggie to get before the Ray fight. So Community Jungle is eating pretty good here, but Wabathreats, I really don't. I think it was smart that they didn't try to go after that bottom Reggie. They're kind of even here with experience finally. So giving Community Jungle even more experience would not be a good move on their part. So here we go. We are waiting for that initial engagement here. Unfortunately, there's no defenders to make the engagement. So we're going to see a lot of poking, a lot of sniping here until both teammates feel like, okay, this is the move. This is where we go in. Taco moving in on the Sylveon there. Sylveon utilizing the Fairy Frolic to kind of back up there as to not get caught out. But HP is getting chunked. We are seeing KOs on both sides here. It's looking like Community Jungle is going to poke a little bit at that array. We have the Decidueye with the knock, uniting, trying to get some KOs, but almost a whole entire team wide. This is the same situation as the last game here. This Ninetales, don't underestimate this Ninetales, because this Ninetales is capable of stealing. Y'all better be looking for that Ninetales, because here it comes. Will it succeed again? And unfortunately, we didn't see the insane secure coming from the Ninetales there. No steal from Wabathreats there, but amazing secure coming from Community Jungle.
That was so close. It's such a testament to both of these teams to put themselves in that same position this second game, where really it could have been anyone's Rayquaza right there. We're going to see a 2 KO streak coming out from that Inteleon. Inteleon on a bit of a roll. We're going to see, are you feeling it? Securing that KO onto that Glaceon right there, and that's Hundo Burger after Hundo Burger. We saw the way Community Jungle just had that team synergy this go around. They were aggressive. They continued to put that pressure on, and were able to secure this time the Rayquaza. It was really, really close. We did see that Unite move get popped from VMAX, but it unfortunately was just a little bit late and not able to grab it. So with that said, Community Jungle will be moving on in this tournament. GG's to both games. My heart has been racing the entire time from this match.
Yeah, these have definitely been the most intense matches that we have seen so far. I think as we progress throughout the night tonight, we are going to see more high intense gameplay coming from these teams. And that was a high intensity indeed. Scolded, aka, are you feeling it? Definitely feeling it with that MVP right there and the 15 KOs was just absolutely cooking that entire game on that Greninja there. Amazing plays coming from Community Jungle. And I just want to throw out there too, this team here, Community Jungle, they put this team together like 3 hours before the tourney even started. I don't believe these five players have ever played together before prior to today. So to see, friends come together to form a team and to compete in a tourney and to do as well as they have been, I think is an incredible experience. And looking at all of that damage stuff on their side, that's wow, they were cooking.
You could feel the cooking. You know what? We're gonna have a dinner party with Community Jungle because there was a lot of cooked foods. That was awesome. So much strong damage right here across the board, and despite Waba Threats not being able to kind of break through that pressure and aggression, still, they put up a good fight, and it still, got very close there in the end. And I love what you said about the fact that, this team was just formed. So if anyone at home has been watching and you've thought about entering Unite tournaments before, you've thought about entering some of the Unite Battle Hub stuff, but you've been nervous about it, make some new friends, join the community and get involved, because awesome things like that can happen. And these are the perfect opportunity to get a chance to play and try new things. So I absolutely love that so much. That is so awesome. Yeah, what an incredible set of matches. And it's crazy, the damage and then the data, it shows us some, but it doesn't show us everything that really happens in a Unite game.
Yes, I definitely agree with you on that, Steph. And well, it looks like that was going to be a game two. We are not sending it into a game three, unfortunately, but we are going to get ready for our next set of matches. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you grab some water, hydrate, stretch, take care of yourself, chat, and we will be right back with more epic matches.
Welcome back, everyone, to Unite Battle Hub's special anniversary event, the Attacker Assault. I am here with the lovely Curly Q. It's our first day getting to cast together. Oh my gosh, Curly, it's been such a pleasure getting to cast with you. I'm so excited as we head into our next match. We have been, oh my gosh, getting to see so many cool Pokemon strategies. We've been able to see so many crazy plays. Oh my gosh, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
I am feeling so good, and it is also an honor and a pleasure to be casting with you. Big fan. So love doing this with you, girl power, and I am so excited. At this point, we have seen every single attacker in the game being played. I don't believe we've missed any. I'm pretty sure we've seen them all. So that's really cool. But at this point, I was talking about this whenever we were on break just a little bit ago. Some of these players I actually, I know them. I know what they usually play, and it's really exciting to like see them in this tourney and to see like, oh, they usually play this Pokemon, but they're not going to be able to play that this tourney because it's banned. So like, what are they going to do? And like seeing people play a different, play style and stuff. Like this next game coming up, there is a player that many of us know, Security, and I know them to play Greedent, to play Machamp, like, those bulky brawler Pokemon. And now they're about to play a squishy attacker in these next matches coming up. So it's just really exciting to see how these players are, flexible, like what they're really capable of doing outside of, their usual mains and stuff. So this has been such a treat. I love the style of tourney. It's very refreshing, very different, and I really hope everybody has been enjoying it as much as I have.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better. I am so excited. Having our special themed day of attackers only got me thinking. In Pokemon Unite, we have our speedsters, we have our all-rounders. Is there room in Pokemon Unite to add a new type of role, do you think, Curly? It's just something while we kind of get started here, while we wait for our opponent, our two teams here to pick their banned Pokemon. I'm curious, do you think there's room in this game for a new type of role?
This is actually my first MOBA, so I'm not really familiar with other MOBAs and whether or not they have like other roles outside this. But that's actually a really good question. I've I've never thought about that, and I really don't know like what other roles would exist. You got your healers, your supports, you got your defenders, you got your brawly all rounders, you got your squishy range attackers. It seems like this game really has it all. Is there a specific role that you're thinking of? Maybe you might be more experienced with the MOBAs than I am, but is there a role that you think would be really cool to add?
Funnily enough, I was always scared from some other MOBAs just because of how intimidating they can seem at first. What I love about Pokemon Unite is just being there for the growth and inception of Unite, playing from day one of the game. So
Yeah.
it's been tough. But now, I mean, you start with 10 Pokemon. Now we're looking on the screen here, and there are so many Pokemon here. So it's something I think we can maybe talk about a little bit later, because you know what? It's time to get into the pick phase of this next
Mhm.
match. So this time we've got Who's Our Fifth on the purple side and Aeos Coins over on the orange side. So we're going to see our first couple of Pokemon getting picked here. We've got Greninja, Espeon, Venusaur getting locked in on a purple side, and Mew. Oh, I love seeing another Glaceon locked in by Kersey. Ninetales, we do see that, that Ice Core happening again, and Pikachu getting locked in as well.
Something that I did just notice, I do believe Who's Our Fifth is actually on the right. There was
Oh,
a previous game that we
thank you.
casted with Who's Our Fifth, and those were the names that I recognized from that team. So I actually think Aos Coins is on the left, Who's Our Fifth is on the right, the orange team. And it looks like we are going to have a redraft here because there must have been an accidental pick of the Greedent, maybe a force of habit, because I did mention before Security is a very mean Greedent player. So we are going gonna have to go into a redraft here, just to make sure that we have all attackers, because again, this is attacker assault. So it's gonna be all attackers only. Sorry, security, you don't get to play your green in this game, as much as I would love to see it.
You know, maybe this was destiny so that we can continue our conversation about whether or not Unite should have
Yeah.
another role, which is kind of crazy to think about. So while that gets reset up, yeah, you know, Pokemon Unite, for me personally, I love just how I feel it's very easily accessible for new mobile players, but then when you get into the high level play, it gets very complex and there's a lot that you can do within Pokemon Unite. So I don't mean that it's a simpler MOBA than other MOBAs, but I just find it was a lot easier for someone like me to get into it as opposed to some of the others that, you know, have been placed. So with that being said, though, something for us to think about in chat. Let us know for that question of the day for you, what you think, if there should be another role added to Unite, or if you're happy with the spread that we have, because we do have a very good spread. But with that being said, it does look like we're gonna have a redraft, I believe. So don't mind me getting confused by looking way different spots of my computer screen. So yeah, it was just something I was thinking about. You know, I think about Sableye, which we can't see in this tournament, but Sableye was one of the first Pokemon that really got me thinking of like a trickster role more specifically. That could be really interesting to have, because I feel Sableye, even though being a supporter, is very unique in how it supports. And so I wonder if there's more that could be done with that. So that's something that I was thinking about.
Yeah, there are a lot of Pokemon that we have that don't really. They have like Greedent, for example. Greedent, it's a defender, but it's not played like a defender. Like, yes, it's tanky. It can frontline, but its kit is just so much different compared to other defenders, and it's played much differently. And so I don't know, maybe Greedent can fit into like that little trickster role or something. But yeah, there are quite a few Pokemon that are in a specific role, but they're very unique. They're played quite differently compared to the other Pokemon within that role, and sometimes it kind of does feel like they're misclassed a bit. Like I know for me, Wiggly, like I'm gonna be honest, I don't consider Wiggly support. When I was competitive last year, I remember for a brief time, Wiggly was meta, and it was played in the tank slot, in the defender slot, and you didn't have your Slowbro, you didn't have I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but there's just a lot of Pokemon that don't fit the role, and Wiggly is just more of a defender, in my opinion. It initiates, it frontlines, it has that crowd control with Sing. I mean, even Rollout has really good CC as well. You just have to be really great at geometry, which I am not. But yeah, like, and again, Wiggly is more like, I feel like if they were to do anything with Wiggly, it would just be changing it from support to defender, not giving it like a whole entire different role. But yeah, much like you, I'm pretty intimidated about other MOBAs, or at least in the past, very intimidated by games like League of Legends. It seemed a lot more complex for me, and truthfully, I don't know if I would be playing this game if it didn't have a bunch of cute Pokemon in it. But it is a very great introduction into MOBA, but it still has that, you know, high tier play that, you know, really takes skill, and you do have to set yourself apart from the rest of the players, and practice a lot. And of course, you have that team synergy that goes into those teams and everything. Just a lot of aspects that are really important when building a team. So it's definitely not an easy MOBA. It's just easy to get into, but the competitive aspect of it is a whole different story.
Yeah, and I like what you said, because it makes me think about the role of support and how over these last 2 seasons of Pokemon Unite, you know, the support role has been very flexible in how you are supporting your team. And are you supporting your team with heals? Are you supporting them with CC? And like, how is it that you are supporting? And it's interesting to think about, you know, sometimes the best kind of support is a really good defense and being able to buff, and then how much is buffing your teammate then being more of a defender. So that's really interesting. I loved hearing your insight on that. That is so cool to think about. Now, I have to ask you, I'm sure this is a popular question, but I've always got to know because we haven't gotten a chance to chat about this. Is there a Pokemon you really want in Unite that isn't there? And that's one for chat too. Chat, we'll read some of your answers too while we're waiting for our next game to get set up here.
I think my next two favorite Pokemon so I was a really big advocate for Gudra and Lapras, which it's crazy that they're in the game. Gudra actually came out on my birthday. I swear they look at my Twitter or something. Cause I don't know. I was really blown away that one of my favorite Pokemon was dropped on my birthday. Just the timing was just mind-blowing. But I have definitely considered which Pokemon I would like to see in the game next, and not necessarily defenders. I actually don't think that these Pokemon would be defenders, but I am a really big Grimmsnarl fan from Gen 8. I love Grimmsnarl, especially shiny Grimmsnarl. I have a shiny one from Sword, and I nicknamed it Yeti.
Oh, I love that.
That's one of my favorites. What about you?
Oh, well, so it's funny you said Grimmsnarl because before I got super into Unite, I'm very big into VGC, and Grimmsnarl is popular in VGC. I want Incineroar in Unite just so that we can continue to have Pokemon that are prevalent in VGC also be relevant. And I think it's going to make everyone angry, but I think Incineroar would be really fun. So that's my meme pick right now. But otherwise, my favorites have been picked. We got Glaceon, and Gudra's my second favorite Pokemon. So I just feel like I've been spoiled enough as it is. I love the cute Tinkaton art that is now for the upcoming event because Tinkaton is such a cute Gen 9 Pokemon. But with that being said, I think we potentially have our game all set up right here if everything is all good to go. So we should be able to check that out here soon.
Yes,
we're looking at it right now. Here it is.
And the bans are in. They are banning Sylveon, and Orange Team is banning Inteleon. So yeah, very interesting bans here. Inteleon just recently got buffed, and it really did pop up in the last set of games. So it makes sense that, you know, we're seeing that out. Sylveon has also been a star in this tourney. Also, we have another non-attacker pick and two non-attacker picks. Interesting. I'm not really
if
sure
you squint,
what's going on.
Maybe then you will see. Maybe they'll look
if
like
you
attackers.
Squint hard enough, the background changes red somehow. Don't ask me how, it just does.
Goodness. Well, we'll get that sorted
not
here.
Sure what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well. All right, so while we get that figured out, something else we can remind everyone is if you've been enjoying the stream, enjoying all the Unite action, there are still 2 more events happening in July that you are not going to want to miss. There is a EMEA Double Trouble and a Copa Galactica happening later this month. Get in on the action. It's an opportunity to get to play before the Pokemon World Championships in August and before the season comes to a close with that. So it'll be a lot of fun. Get involved and make sure if you're not following the Unite Battle Hub on all the socials, maybe you haven't given the Twitch channel a follow, give it a nice follow. Support all the amazing people who have made this broadcast and production what it is, which huge shout out to everybody on production. There is so much love that goes into making these events what it is. Huge shout out to the players who are all playing, all of our fellow casters here make these streams what it is, and everyone who's watching at home. Seriously, it wouldn't be what it is without all of you guys.
Yes, definitely agree with that. And I just want to throw in there, Unite Battle Hub is the only grassroots organization that, you know, is doing this kind of stuff. And what I love especially about Unite Battle Hub is the healthy competition, the fact that they, you know, they ban a Pokemon that are bugged. They, you know, for their Double Trouble events where there is money on the line, they won't allow new Pokemon in until, you know, they've received their, you know, initial buffs, nerfs, whatever they need in order to become balanced. And they do these tourneys all month. I know for me personally, I have the honor of casting 2 of them every month. Same with every other caster here that's a part of Unite Battle Hub. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for supporting what we do over here. We're the only ones in the scene that is doing this, and it's absolutely incredible. But we are going to go ahead and throw it to break really quick while we get set up for our next set of matches. Something happened with the other two teams. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but from what I'm hearing, it is going to be an FF, and we are going to be moving on to the next set of matches. So don't go anywhere, but please make sure that you grab some water, hydrate, stretch, take a break, and we will be right back with your next set of matches.
Welcome back, everybody, to Unite Battle Hub Anniversary Attacker Assault. I'm here with the lovely Curly Q, and we are going to get ready to have this game 3, essentially. It's going to be winner takes all for this next match.
Yeah, so just an explanation because I know we are all really confused here. Still don't know all the details, but one team picked a Pokemon that they weren't supposed to pick, so that is an FF. And then the next game, the other team picked a Pokemon that they weren't supposed to pick, so that is an FF. So both of these teams both technically have a loss. So this is the game 3, and this is for all of the marbles. When we get into the draft here, check out these bands, and we're in for a treat since we only get to see one game from these two teams.
Absolutely. And it looks like Inteleon and Sylveon are going to be banned. I'm not surprised to see these two. I mean, all tournament long, we've seen how Inteleon's range in those critical hits, how it's really come out to shine this tournament. And Sylveon has that sustain. It's one of the few Pokemon that is able to do that. You know, alongside other Pokemon. I saw that quick cover there with Venusaur, but it looks like instead Kersey's going to lock in that Glaceon, and we do see Greninja first pick over on the purple side, and Mew getting locked in, but I can't stop him.
Yeah, these are some pretty good picks so far. Definitely expect to see Eos Coins picking up that Venusaur since, you know, Sylveon is a band. And we mentioned before, Sylveon and Venusaur have been two of the most sustaining Pokemon in this style of tourney for attacker assault. So having those Pokemon on your team is definitely very valuable. So we are going to see Soup Chef picking up that Venusaur there for their team. And then looking over at who's our fifth with the Pikachu, the Cram, the Mew as well. I kind of see what they're doing here. They took away all of the Pokemon that, you know, don't have evolutions away from the other team. So now the other team is kind of forced to pick a lot of Pokemon that have 2-3 stage evolutions here. So really interesting draft strat already. Looking at how things are here, I kind of expect Who's Our Fit to have a good early game. Meanwhile, Eos Coins are going to need to spend some time to get those levels.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, we've seen it the way that having that experience lead goes a very, very long way in these games. So I'm very excited to see. And, you know, I think that, you know, after seeing that Delphox pick, Cinderace also makes a lot of sense to have just more range and being able to kind of go head to head up against that Delphox. So with this, you know, again, it's like we said, you know, all the marbles are on this game. So really, you're going to have to take a strategy and just go with it and go in with that full confidence. And this is it. So when that timer hits 0, one of these teams will be making it into the finals that will be happening here real soon.
I am going to be on the edge of my seat here, especially considering this is it. They only get one game, and hopefully some of these players know each other, so you know they kind of have an idea of how they play. And you know, hopefully one of them can get the upper hand here. I mean, somebody will get the upper hand because only one team can take home the win. So this is going to be really exciting. I will say I'm kind of surprised to see Feral Eevee on the Ninetales and not one of her beloved little Eevees there. I guess it would be because yeah, I forgot Sylveon was banned, and Saint Lair picking up the Glaceon. So Eevee is going to pick the next best evolution, which is Ninetales.
Right. And just
I just know she's a big Eevee fan.
That makes the games even more exciting to watch when you get to see a player play something that they don't often get a chance to play. And as a little reminder here, we are not seeing Espeon or Chandelure in these games just because there's no confirmation that their bugs have been fixed yet. And with that out of the way, let's get into our semifinals right here as we see Rowlet going to try and score nice and early and trying hopefully not to get caught out while we do see Froakie in the central area for our purple team. We're going to see Scorbunny taking the central area over onto the orange side, and here we can see security and that Vulpix, but Vulpix goes down too quick. They were sticking together as buddies, but unfortunately going to get caught out early right then and there.
Yeah, unfortunately, they do have that Cram and Pikachu up there in that top lane there. So yeah, that's gonna be a little difficult to deal with. Those two Pokemon alone, they just have so much crowd control capabilities in this early game here. So here we go. It looks like Aeos Queens was able to secure most of those Swablues there in that central area. Maybe get some picks here. Poor little Vulpix is getting a little too low there, so they do get taken out by the other team. But early game, so there is still time for Ninetales to come back.
Definitely. And, we talk a lot about the, first objectives that spawn at the 7-minute mark. But even before that, at the 8-minute mark, we do see a central Altaria spawn. So until this point, really both teams respecting one another, not wanting to play too aggressively to give too much of a lead. So focusing on that experience. And then we can see, some or all end up going towards that central area right here. So a bit of a skirmish is going to kind of break out. Here they are. The Altaria are here. And, you want to get as much of that experience as you can. We can see Venusaur or Ivysaur at this point, taking a ton of that experience. But unfortunately, got a bit punished as well, getting caught out by three of who's our fifth.
Yes, yes. Doing pretty good here though so far. Levels are very even. Actually perfectly even. But here we are in the bot lane. We do have an objective coming up. Unfortunately, the Greninja is getting picked off, so that is a little unfortunate there for Team Aeos Coins. But again, we do have an objective spawning here soon. It looks like Aeos Coin is once again going to secure most of that central area farm there in the bot lane. But again, looking at the levels, everything is still pretty even. No one is going to have a Unite move for this objective here, except, well, okay, Glaceon is still level 7, so we still got a little bit before we'll see some Unite moves online.
We're going to see who's our fifth start going for that register. We're still getting really low, but a bunch of them are all here. The whole gang's here, and it's going to be Greninja on Aeos Queen securing that first objective. Purple team coming in despite all the damage being done by who's our fifth. And we're going to start to see, Delphox going to get knocked out. Unfortunately, Pikachu looking really low, and it's going to get KO'd right there, but not without also seeing another KO happen there. Whoa, there's a lot going on, Curly.
There is so much going on. It's just back and forth. We saw the Decidueye picking off the Glaceon, and then the Cinderace said, hey, that's my Glaceon, buddy, and then took out the Decidueye. Just so much back and forth here. A lot of trading going on here. Now, if we do look at levels, though, levels are looking pretty healthy for both teams. A little tiny lead on who's our fifth, but that can change at any moment. They do end up getting the secure on that Reggie Alecki, so that's just going to buy them some time to be able to get some farm, apply some pressure somewhere else on the map, do whatever they have to do to try to maintain a level lead here.
Jalecki acting as a great distraction to separate and split up Aeos Coins. So we see a bit of a rotation now coming down to the bottom path to do a descent, but we are going to see that Cramorant Unite move with that excellent crowd control, forcing a retreat from that Delphox. And it's going to be an excellent time to start to score, but Greninja's come in and taken out that Cramorant.
Lots of Unite moves popping off here. We do see Mew utilizing that mystical Mirage there, but unfortunately, the Mew is 1 HP, barely getting away with their life there. But we do have another Reggie spawning in the bottom lane here. HP is kind of chunked here, and these are squishy attackers, so you got to be really careful with that low HP. And I just want to point out these levels here. Who's our fifth? They already have a level 12 Cinderace on their team. Looking at the jungler for the other team, only having a level 10 jungler, that is quite the difference.
Oh my gosh, we're going to see Unite move get popped out from Ninetales, but not going to be able to catch out that the Cram that ran and was able to securely make it back over here. As we do see the bottom objective has spawned on the bottom path, but not everyone is over there. Or, sorry, not being secured over there at all, but instead there's a skirmish down here. But over on the top path, it is kind of split. We see a split push happening right now, and the Fanciful Fireworks coming out from that Delphox more as a way to kind of escape rather than catch out anybody.
Yes, and almost a Mamba applying so much pressure there while their teammates get in those scores and break that tier one, trying to hold back who's our fifth so their teammates can do what they need to do there in that top lane. Now, getting that Reggie Alecki in the top lane is going to be pretty valuable for both teams here. Being able to send that into a tier two, distract the other team, force them to occupy their time with getting rid of the Alecki going to their pad. It allows the other team to be able to do other things on the map, whether it be farming or pushing for more scores. And it looks like the Ninetales is going to secure the Reggie Alecki for Team Aos coins.
Cinderace trying to get out of a pretty sticky situation, but the Spirit Shackle does so much damage. A Greninja gonna finalize that KO. Cinderace is gone. Regieleki making its way to that tier 2 goal, but not before it gets stopped. We see a lot of aggression coming out from this Venusaur and the sustain. Oh my gosh, we're seeing 3 down on the side of Oryx. That's 4 down. Is there going to be a complete team wipe? Oh my gosh, it's just the Mew that could. That was huge.
And now, even though Mamba got taken out, this poor little Mew is the only one that can, deal with that Alecki since all their teammates were down. So that is massive for Team Aos coins there. It buys them a lot of time and allows them to go over to their side, get some farm, and prepare for the next team fight that happens, which is going to be in this bot lane for this next Reggie.
That's right. And look, we can already see Glaceon and Pikachu patiently having waited for that Regice to spawn, waiting for the teammates to rotate down. So not wanting to try and start it too early to risk a potential steal coming in from Aos Coins. But Aos Coins isn't even going for it. But of course, this team wouldn't know. So instead, we are going to see Regice get taken down pretty safely from Orange side right here. Going to take those buffs right before our Rayquaza that is right here. So we do see Mew already kind of in position right here. And instead, we do see that Aos Coins was instead opting to kind of grab that final remaining experience and position now instead. So we see a lot of Aos Coins over on the top part of the map. And we do see kind of in that mid section a lot of who's our fifth over there.
And here we go. We are waiting for that initial move, the one that starts the fight. This is needed by both teams here. I mean, there's really not much of a point lead on the side of who's our fifth because anything can happen. That's still a very close score. Even a back cap from Team Aos coins could take that lead away from them. So the patience that is happening here in this array pit, both teams kind of on the opposite sides of each other, just doing some poking and waiting so patiently for that engagement. And here it is. We do have lots of moves popping off the Delphox, utilizing their fanciful fireworks to create some space for their team, kind of backing off there. I don't know if they know that they're not in the lead, but they are, or that they're not in the lead, but they're about to find out right now that the right side team is in the lead here. So Aos coins, they're gonna have to make a move here.
It is on Aos Coins right now to put that pressure and start and not only take out this Rayquaza, but you need to have time to score. So if you're not going to go for that Rayquaza, you have to make a decision right now whether or not you're going to go back cap and not go after the Rayquaza or take out the Rayquaza. But if Rayquaza's the move, it's got to get taken out quick or you're not going to have enough time to reach those goalposts. And with that, we are seeing Unite moves start to fly. We see Kramer with that crowd control right there and Venusaur trying to take out that Cram, getting nice and close. We are going to see the 2 KO streak coming in from the Cinderace, and that's all of Aos Coins wiped out completely. And with that, it is going to be who's our fifth securing that Rayquaza, and they're going to be able to score these hundos. It is going to be dunk after dunk. If they can get it in these last 7 seconds, it's going to be tight, but it looks like there's going to be another hundo, and that is going to seal this game. Congratulations to who's our fifth taking this victory heading over into the finals.
Well, that was a really interesting one game match. If you're just now joining, these teams, they only had one team or one game to prove themselves, and it's gonna go to who's our fifth. Incredible patience there coming from both teams, honestly, during that Rayquaza fight. Especially given that they're all squishy attackers. They don't have a defender on their side. They don't have a reliable Pokemon to be able to make that initial move, that engagement, that that really tells the team, okay, this is it. This is when we start team fighting. So just trying to find that opportune moment to really go for it. The patience was just absolutely incredible. And obviously, who's our fifth? They played it really well, getting that team wipe on AOS coins. It was incredible.
Definitely. And, you know, I really liked what we saw there from AOS coins. And the biggest enemy just seemed to be timer. You know, you had that pressure of you had, you know, the patience was so critical, but at the same time, you have to find that balance between, you know, being patient, but also having enough time to go in and score. Let's take a look at this battle damage right here. So we could really see a fair spread of damage across the board. 42,000 coming from Soup Chef. We can see 38,000 coming in from that Pikachu. But really, you could see it was each of these Pokemon kind of working in tandem together to kind of get those secures. And, you know, Curly, you said it best at the beginning, you know, because we have all attackers here, we're not going to see over 100K damage at all. Looking
Mhm.
at this graph right here, you know, we see the secures that were, you know, most of those secures did go over to who's our fifth, which definitely aided, especially critically, that last Regice giving that buff going into those final team fights is something to think about as well. We did see a purple manage to get one of the Regileckies, but a lot of those objectives were able to get secured by who's our fifth.
Yes, incredible plays from both team, but it was one game and one game only to win this match. So incredible plays coming from everybody. Congratulations, who's our fifth for moving forward. Steph, are we about to get into our grand finals?
We absolutely are. We are going to be taking a quick break to get sorted here for our finals, but don't miss out. It's going to be a wild time. We'll see you all in just a little bit.
Welcome back, everybody, to Unite Battle Hub Anniversary Series North America. We are doing Attackers Assault, and we are here for the grand finals as we see who's our 5th versus Mew Psycho 100. Yeah, we have had some great games. Curly Q and Steph are going to be joining us and taking care of the games. So, overall, been that whole debate throughout the entire series so far. So, what Pokemon do you think have been the go-to picks and bans over the course of this match? Let's start with you, Curly.
Well, I definitely saw a lot of value in Sylveon and the Venusaur. And we only really saw Sylveon in like the first set of games, I believe. And then it seems like it has been getting banned, I think more than once for sure. So it definitely seems like teams have recognized those Pokemon that are just, you know, the Sylveon is able to, in this team of full attackers, it's able to actually tank quite a bit. It's able to sustain and stay alive longer in these team fights. So I think teams are recognizing that, and we definitely saw those bans in the last game. So that's a Pokemon that I think has made a pretty big impact in this series.
Great. Yeah, it's just some crazy games that we've had going on so far. And for you, Steph, what Pokemon surprised you? Was there any Pokemon that you thought, oh, well, didn't think it would pop off that well? Or, you know, this is the pick. It's just absolutely crazy.
Oh, well, going into this tournament, I was really excited to see Inteleon and how Inteleon would perform, just because it's the newest Pokemon that we've gotten into Unite. And so if Inteleon wasn't picked, it seems Inteleon was a popular band pick today, which makes a lot of sense. But I think it's not simply just because it's the new Pokemon and there is like a bit of unfamiliarity with, the how best to use Inteleon amongst your team. But I think also range has been very powerful in an all attacker format. And, if you get caught out and you're able to get surrounded, like, it's over for your team. We've seen so many, from 0 to 5 knockouts very, very quickly. And I think having range to be able to help secure, but also just to be able to keep chipping until you're able to make those bold plays and get close has been really pivotal to these matches.
Yeah, we've seen teams, at least also in the UCS, utilize like the 2 solar beams just to create range, and how important that range is in order to really initiate a fight or even just clean up a fight. So kind of crazy overall. So let's go ahead and talk about our previous match. So Curly, you got to go see who's our 5th go up against Eos Coins. What are the things that we should be looking out for when it comes to this team?
They really know how to push their advantage when they have a lead. I truthfully just felt like when they had the lead, they were being pretty aggressive. They knew where they needed to apply pressure. Just phenomenal team play. I'm unsure if these teams compete frequently with one another, but it definitely seemed like they do for sure, because they all seem to be on the same page. They seem to have a really great synergy. I really think the important thing about this tourney is just drafting your team comp appropriately. You want to make sure that you don't have too many 3-stage mons. You want to make sure you have a little mix of, like a Cramorant or a Pikachu, or, just something that doesn't evolve. I almost said Duraludon, but we did see one game with Duraludon, and it didn't really do too great. It got behind a lot. It was one of the lowest levels on the team for a pretty long time. So it all really comes down to like that draft strategy and just trying to build a team comp that is well-rounded. Make sure that you have Pokemon that are going to do well in that early game, especially with a lot of these 3-stage Pokemon that need that experience and take some time to be able to pop off.
Yeah, and I think that is the big thing. It's always about leveling and sharing experience, because as we watch throughout the entirety of the Unite season, experience is important for the attackers. So when you have to split it amongst your whole team, it just starts getting a little messy. So yeah, we are slowly getting into our grand finals, getting ready for everything. So Steph, what do you think of? Have we seen any of Mew Psycho 100? I don't recall.
This is is the first time we're seeing Mew Psycho 100 on stream today. So that's going to be very interesting to see. I think one thing that I am expecting to look out for is, we talked a lot about the level advantages, but really making opportunities with the team comps that you have. So, we saw a game a couple matches ago where, you had a lot of, two-stage evolutions, but you didn't always necessarily get to see those early Unite moves. That is that benefit of having those two-stage evolutions. If you have those evolutions, getting to be able to kind of get those Unite moves early and get to use them in the early game, I think will be pretty key and pivotal if you end up with that strategy. Or likewise, if you have more of those three-stage attackers to kind of be patient and collect, your levels and just wait for your moment to be able to strike and burst and hit hard when you can.
Exactly. I do think that is going to be the play. We have the draft just about coming up. So let's go ahead and take a peek at that. That is going to be another thing to take a quick look at. But once we get in there, I'm excited to just see how it plays out. So hopefully we get to that quite soon.
Yeah, and if everyone is enjoying at home, but please be sure to let us all know and make sure you are giving all the support to Unite Battle Hub. If you've been enjoying these fun anniversary formats and you want to see more of them throughout the year, please let us know. Let us know in Twitch chat, let us know on socials, because these are really fun and there's so much potential outside of your standard tournaments that we'll be able to do on the channel. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I personally hope to see more events like this from Unite Battle Hub, especially going into the off season. I think, the competitive experience is really great, but also just having fun playing, different Pokemon. Like these rules are so unique, and it's so refreshing compared to what we usually would see, and I think it allows us to see a different side of some of these teams as well. So it's a really exciting experience. And wow, Steph, the two Pokemon that we mentioned that seem to have such a huge impact in this format, they're being banned: the Sylveon and the Inteleon.
That's right. If we've learned one thing from having an all-attacker format, is who becomes the MVP. And you know what? In following suit to what we've seen all day today, is that Greninja and Pikachu are going to get locked in very quickly. Greninja has done so much damage. It has a very, very powerful Unite move that's able just to add even more extra burst damage. And Pikachu just has that extra support. We're going to see Cinderace get locked in as well on Mew Psycho 100's team. That's going to be on the orange side. And then who's our fifth over on the purple side? I love seeing a good Glaceon. I mean, we saw Kersey be extremely aggressive with that Sylveon and play some really cool plays with Sylveon. I'm excited to see Kersey back on Glaceon this go around. Mew going to get locked in over on that side as well. And then on the orange side, we are going to see Venusaur and Decidueye.
And I will say, so far, I'm really digging who's our fifth team. Again, they just, every time they are in this draft situation, they do such a great job of having that well balanced attacker team. They only have the Greninja that's a 3-stage. You got your Glaceon, you got your Ninetales that are both 2-stage, and Glaceon having that Unite move at level 8, being able to evolve into a Glaceon at level 4 is going to be really huge for them. And then of course they have the Mew and the Cramorant, which are really just great in that early game. So I have to say, I think I'm favoring who's our fifth here. On Mew Psycho 100, I'm excited to see what they bring to the table here. We have yet to see a game from them today, so we're really in for a treat here. But they do have a lot of 3-stage Pokemon. They are going to be very, very hungry for that experience, but that could also mean that they're just more of a late game team compared to our attacker team from Who's Our Fifth. So very excited to see these being played out, especially given the fact that we haven't seen Mew Psycho 100 in action tonight.
Absolutely. This is going to be a fun one to watch. And what better way to see a team for the first time than in the grand finals? So the winner here will take home the glory for this anniversary series tournament. So we are about to get underway here. We can see it, these two teams ready to rock. It's fun seeing Dragapult come back in as well. Dragapult, we've seen a little bit this tournament, but not as much. So that one is going to be fun to see. Curly, I'm curious on your thoughts where Dragapult kind of stands, you think, not just in this tournament, but in general as a Pokemon. You like Dragapult? How do you feel about Dragapult?
I like Dragapult. I think it does better. Like, I feel like it does better when you play with people, like solo queue. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't play it, but I will say I don't feel like I really get a lot of good Dragapult gamers on my teams. But I feel like it's one of those Pokemon where it just takes some time to pick up, and then once you get really familiar with it and you understand its kit, you can really do so much with that Pokemon. Actually, I mean, I know a few players that play it really well, phenomenally. They do so great with it. So I like it. I don't know how it feels to everybody else in this meta, but it is really interesting to see it at play here.
Definitely. And speaking of the rest of the team that's here, we did see Kersey get an early level 4 Ninetales. Going to look really great for that early game. And over here on this side, we do see a Venusaur just waiting patiently for that first set of Altaria and Swablu to form. We did see that it is a Reboot that is playing Central Area player for the team. And then we did see soon to be Greninja, Frogadier heading into the Central Area as well. So with that, quick burst, we saw those Swablu get disintegrated very, very quickly as we do, and we're seeing some aggression come out. Gonna knock out the poor Rowlet right here and take an opportunity to score. That's gonna be 23 for Who's Our Fifth, and now 52. A nice early lead. Dreepy trying to do some chip, but really with that level of HP, not gonna be able to take down two Pokemon, so we're gonna need to stay close to that zone and wait for Rowlet to come back, and Rowlet really wants to level up as soon as possible.
Oh, absolutely. That top lane on the side of Psycho 100's not doing too hot yet. They need to get some levels on their Pokemon ASAP, get those evolutions going, get some experience, and then I think they will be good to go. But levels are still very even for both teams here. But we really would love to see that little Rowlet getting some experience. So there they go into that central area there to try to do that. So let's just hope they're able to secure some wild Pokemon in that central area there. Meanwhile, there's a lot of pressure happening in that bot lane too. The way the Glaceon was keeping them on that tier 1, just so much pressure here.
Absolutely. Frogadier going to be able to take that, well, now a Greninja, I should say, going to be able to get those scores in and do a bit of damage. We saw the knockout onto the Cinderace. These early KOs are going to add up because, especially for that first objective, if it's possible to get your Unite move, you're going to want to see and you're going to want to be able to grab it. These final Swablu have spawned here before that first objective. We're going to see another level up onto the Glaceon right here as we have 8 seconds to go for that objective to appear, and we're going to see what it is.
And I don't believe we will see a glacial stage being used here for this objective, but that is okay. Who's Our Fifth is doing really great so far with experience, but they do have a level 9 Greninja coming in, and they're more than capable of utilizing that Unite move in order to gain an advantage here and hopefully get the secure on the Regirock.
Oh my gosh, Venusaur are looking low, and there goes the Ivysaur, gonna get knocked out. Unfortunately, 2 KOs on the side. We're gonna see Who's Our Fifth secure that bottom Reggie, and while that's happening, we do see Psycho 100 be able to take that Regieleki and knock out that first tier 1 goal zone. That does allow for Who's Our Fifth to kind of grab that experience. You can see that that's happening right now. So with both objectives out of the way, it is a race to get as much experience as possible. And did I just see Cram steal a buff?
I believe we just did. Cram just doing whatever they want, as they usually do. I love to see it. It's so great to see Cramorant at play finally in these attorneys. Now we are seeing some picks going down the Ivysaur on the side of Psycho 100. I also think the Cinderace may have missed their Blazing Bicycle Kick Unite move there. I think they may have accidentally ulted some farm. I don't know what happened there. But levels are looking pretty nice on the side of Who's Our Fifth. They already got that Greninja level 11, Ninetales level 10. Unite moves are all online. Just incredible plays coming from Who's Our Fifth.
Ooh, scary Spirit Shackles, but it does miss that Ninetales right here as some of our Pokemon are repositioning, waiting for that moment to strike right here. It's going to be difficult, especially with attackers only. You're going to want some backup before you go, making a huge push right here. So we can see Mew kind of waiting around with that Greninja, going to grab some of those points that are there while this next objective happens. And there's still a bunch of AOS energy on the side of Mew Psycho 100 to grab. And so all of those yellow dots on the field want to get cleared before this next objective appears. It's the song and dance of Unite. You know, for every hype, intense moment, there is a calm, the eye of the storm, awaiting for that moment to strike. Some really excellent positioning coming out here from Who's Our Fifth. Specifically, Mew staying on that outside, not just to grab that experience right there, but to be a lookout for Pokemon like that Pikachu that's going to be here and keep them zoned out from the Reggie while the rest of the team is going to be able to do damage. So Mew is taking this, doing this zoning job very, very nicely, while also grabbing some experience and utilizing that nice EXP share. And there it is. We do see Glaceon securing that Regirock. And then otherwise, of course, we did see most of Orange Team up top grabbing that Regieleki.
In this situation here, I would have much rather prioritized that Reggie still down there. Huge objective. But I do think Mew Psycho 100 prioritizing that Regieleki in the top lane there. I think they were kind of hoping that it would apply more pressure on that tier 2 and hopefully be able to break that entire top lane. But I guess they thought that they would be able to apply some pressure on that bottom tier 1. But Who's Our Fifth said, no, you're not allowed down here. So they're going to end up getting some KOs here. The Decidueye going down. And just, again, we know this team is more than capable of, applying that pressure when it is needed as a means of maintaining their lead. That's what you got to do in order to keep up that experience. You have to keep applying pressure where you can, and we're seeing that being applied by Who's Our Fifth. They're doing an incredible job of being everywhere on the map where they need to be.
Really wonderful defense coming out from Who's Our Fifth there. We saw as that tier 1 goal was starting to get scored on, immediately the Unite move started to fly. So really great job, and making sure that that was done with enough time to get the Unite moves back for that Rayquaza, which was also huge right there. So we see Mew repositioning to come back and pivot. Going back to base is a really great way to do that. And, Cram kind of just guarding over all of those AOS energies. That's the remnants of that battle we saw over at the bottom path. There is enough time for one final bottom or top Reggie, depending on where the teams want to go. A lot of the teams right now are kind of rotated towards the top, but there is still Cram and Pikachu down on the bottom. It'll have to be a quick objective capture because there's only about 20 seconds left. Venus or Solar Beam just does so much chip damage to that Mew. You can see that Mew Psycho is prioritizing this Regieleki, which if you are going to go for a Regieleki, doing it in the last 10 seconds of the Rayquaza fight is really scary, because now you're going to have to force the team to make a decision on whether to let it just go into the goal or be a distraction.
I think the best choice here is to just let it go in. They're not even spaced close enough to that top tier 2. Of course, they do have Ninetales kind of in place there just to stop anybody from trying to score, which it looks like Cinderace is trying to get a little cozy there, just kind of chilling here, but I don't think they're going to be able to go for a score here. But I absolutely love this positioning, but the Cinderace diving in on the Glaceon there, barely escaping with 1 HP. That was incredible. It looks like the Dusty was trying to take a snipe at the Glaceon too, or rather just, bush poking here, trying to see if they can get any lucky snipes here. But unfortunately, they are out of luck. Looking at these levels though, Who's Our Fifth is so healthy in terms of levels, but again, there's just so much patience here. We are just waiting for this initial engagement into this array fight. Who is going to make the move? The scores are still really close. We have Cinderace going in with a back cap to put them in the lead for Mew Psycho 100, and now this is where the teams are going into a panic, trying to figure out what they need to do. There are Pokemon that are going down, and Ray is so low on HP, and it gets secured by Mew Psycho 100.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge secure. Greninja is still up there. Oh my gosh, Greninja able to get the KO and is going to be able to score. We have almost a complete wave of Pokemon. Only one Pokemon out of 10 is on the field right now, and that is going to put Who's Our Fifth in the 1 goal on the side. So honestly, if they're able to score with a little bit of AOS energy, I think this is still within the realm of possibility, but it's going to have to happen fast. This Dragon Bolt's going to have to score this 35, and then we'll have to do a little bit of math to see. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get that off. The defense coming in from Who's Our Fifth is huge, and that is going to be purple side taking the victory. Who's Our Fifth taking game 1. Oh my God, that's a game 1. Wow.
I wish y'all could have seen me and Steph. We both just put our hands up and we were like, what? What is happening? That was absolutely incredible luck. The last man standing and being able to get a dunk without being contested at all to win the game for their team. The winning score. I'm shocked. That was incredible plays coming from Who's Our Fifth. I mean, it's very obvious why these two teams are here in the grand finals. Cycle 100, that was a really great secure on that Rayquaza. I mean, it was being ripped, it was being deleted, so it's just a matter of who's going to get the secure. And when I saw them get the secure, I was like, wow, this is it. They got it. They're going to score. They're going to win. But Locke said, I don't think so, buddy. That was just incredible from both teams. Incredible game.
Oh my gosh, that's one to save in the VODs for the histories. That was incredible. Let's take a look at this. Look how neck and neck it was. We saw Who's Our Fifth with the lead, but then that Rayquaza. Oh my gosh, that was so wild. Oh my goodness. Let's not forget those back caps as well that were happening. That was a very intense end game, and it's really tough. I can't imagine even being in those players' positions, making those decisions when the game is that neck and neck. You have to kind of make a choice and go with it, but also be able to execute it and be able to go ahead and take that Rayquaza. So, wow. Gosh, thinking even about a game 2, what do you even do in that situation?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know. Again, I really think things would just be a little bit easier for Who's Our Fifth. Or sorry, not Who's Our Fifth. Cycle 100, my apologies. If they had less 3-stage evolution mods. I mean, we look at Who's Our Fifth, their team comp was just so balanced in terms of attackers here. I keep bringing this up all the time, but the evolutions and then the Pokemon that don't evolve, those are going to be really huge picks to have on your team. If you have a team that is a bunch of experience hungry Pokemon, you're going to be fighting your own team for that experience. You're going to have a hard time trying to get a level lead and maintaining that as well. And we saw them trying to, I mean, the levels really weren't like terrible, but we definitely did have a lead for Who's Our Fifth. But yeah, I really think going into this next match, I hope to see some different picks on the side of Cycle 100. Again, hopefully, mirroring kind of what Who's Our Fifth did. They had, the evolutions, they had the Mew, the Cram, even Ninetales only has, 1 evolution. So yeah, really incredible plays from both of these teams. That was so epic.
That was so awesome. What a game 1 for the finals. You can see how these two teams made it over here, and I totally agree with everything that you were saying in terms of adjusting. And I think utilizing the ban as well to maybe disrupt what we've seen. It's difficult because if you don't go with the same bans, you might see that very Pokemon come back. But I think that was a really solid core we saw from Who's Our Fifth, and it was really strong showing. And I mean, that Greninja, it's tough to know if you want that Greninja going into that game too.
Yes. I can't wait to see the changes that happen in this next match. I really don't know what to expect. Again, I just really think that Cycle 100 needs to balance out their attackers just a little bit, and I really do think they can bring this into a game 3, win this game 2. We'll just have to see what changes are made here. I think we'll see the same bands, Sylveon and Teleon. I personally think that those are really good bands, and I think it made the game feel pretty good. So I think we should expect the same bands, but I think we'll see a different team comp coming from Cycle 100. Now they do get first pick, so that's gonna be, I believe they get first pick this time, right? So that's gonna be really huge for them. What do you think would be like an important first pick for them?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because oh man, it would be interesting to see does Greninja go into their hands after that sort of game. Important first pick. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because even though, we talked a lot about Greninja, but I still do feel like, we saw Solar Beam after Solar Beam. That was something we didn't get to touch on too much in that match, but I felt like I was watching like a Star Wars fight of lasers that game where there was so much going on. So, I mean, I still think like Mew and, Venusaur are such top picks as well going into this. But really, I think
Mhm.
Who's Our Fifth has also been showing a lot of synergy and, being able to match that is going to be pivotal and huge as well. So we're gonna see here with this band fade. Looks like Greninja. I don't think we're gonna be seeing Greninja get first picked here because that is gonna be a banned on the side of Who's Our Fifth, and Mew gonna get banned over on the other side. I think that makes a lot of sense. Pikachu has been a staple all tournament long. Wouldn't be surprised to see it get
Mhm.
picked now.
Oh, what they
Ooh,
decided on picking the Inteleon first. Good grab, good grab. But since they're grabbing Inteleon, then that means that Who's Our Fifth is gonna snag that Sylveon for sure. So very good first two picks here. And they're also gonna pick up the Glaceon too. So oh my gosh, Who's Our Fifth is just cooking already in this draft mode. Having those two evolutions to evolve at 4, have their unite moves at 8. And again, if they can have those unite moves available for the first objectives, it's absolutely huge. It's almost like a guaranteed win there, depending on which objective they end up prioritizing. But once again, Psycho 100 picking those 3-stage Pokemon. So these last two picks is going to be really interesting. This is going to allow Who's Our Fit to, yeah, pick up the Pikachu and the Cram. I think is really smart because you deny those picks from the other team and they're forced to have to pick Pokemon that need experience.
Cramorant's Unite move has also been huge for its crowd control, especially during the biggest fights. We've seen when everyone gathers for that skirmish, the Cram Unite adds a lot of power. So that is going to be huge on the side of Who's Our Fifth to continue supporting, those, frontline evolutions or, whatever Pokemon is going up against the opponent there.
Yes, and here goes our last pick. What is it going to be? Oh, I will be very surprised if it's a Duraludon. Dragapult?
Dragapult comes
It is
back.
a Dragapult secure. So I'm excited to see that. I think wasn't it Mew Cycle 100 that had the Dragapult
I
on their
believe
team, I
so.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be really exciting to see a different player play the Dragapult. It seemed like it kind of struggled a little bit in that early phase. Maybe it's because it's Dragapult's not really meant to be much of a laner, so I hear.
Mhm.
Um but I actually think they could send Lock on the Dragapult into the jungle at the start, which I think
Right.
would be huge.
Definitely. And we've seen Inteleon, a star of the show. If it's not picked, it gets banned. Curly, what have been your first impressions of seeing Inteleon throughout this tournament? What do you think its strengths are? Where do you think maybe, it's not as strong? And granted, of course, we're an attacker only format, but what do you think about Inteleon from what we've seen today?
Before Inteleon even got buffed last night, I already kind of was like, whenever I would face Inteleon, I would often refer to it as Glaceon 2.0 with the liquidation. I don't
Right.
think I could be wrong, but it doesn't feel as strong as Glaceon with that move, but like it does feel really strong. I'm not sure if that was the move that got buffed either. I don't remember the buffs that came with Inteleon. Um, but I thought it was a pretty great mon to begin with. So the fact that it got buffed, it's proving to be even better now. So this is it's really exciting. I didn't really expect Inteleon to dominate the teams and the bands as much as they have.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, we are getting on our way to game two. A cute little score bunny heading into the central area, just like what we've seen previously. And Dreepy heading into the central area on the side of Orange. Cram getting a little low. Kersey needing to retreat back to not get taken out too early on right there. You know, we've seen a very, very aggressive Rowlet, but it makes sense because Rowlet doesn't want to stay a Rowlet for ever. And so Rowlet gonna have that nice little Fennekin to back it up right here as Cram and Eevee become the little duo over on the top lane. On the bottom path, we do see Bulbasaur rocking, and we do see that Pikachu and now Glaceon over on the orange side.
I already got that Glaceon online again. Just that's the perks of having a Pokemon that evolves at level 4. So now this bot lane is sitting pretty comfortably now, given that they do have that Glaceon online now as a Glaceon. The Pikachu too early game is pretty annoying to deal with, that's for sure. A lot of poking going on in that bot lane, I am sure. But looking at levels here again, we're seeing that Rowlet kind of struggling to get that experience so that it can evolve, much like we saw last game. I think the top lane is doing a really good job of trying to out secure, but look at what is happening in the central area here. Looks like we're trying to take away some buffs, trying to get some picks here, but unfortunately it's the Sylveon that's gonna get picked, and there it is, gonna send them back home. Unfortunately, it was an effort, it was an opportunity to waste their time, and hopefully it was enough.
Oh, not all risks pay off. Draziel gonna take that KO out over on the Pikachu as the rest of the Swablu get picked up over by the orange side right there. Glaceon running the Icicle Spear build this go around. And yeah, that invade was pretty spicy. I didn't know if that Sylveon was going to make it out. And, you know, for a second there, it almost did. So that, you know, this is multiple times this tournament we've seen Sylveon kind of playing pretty aggressively and invading. Sylveon just in this type of format being really good at being able to invade. We are going to see this Sylveon kind of having to back up now, and then Rowlet finally gets to evolve into its middle stage just in time for these next set of Swablu. Cram and Kersey going to try and get a little bit close here to just secure a couple of these Swablu, but a lot of that already going to the side of purple right here. We got 7 seconds to go. A rotation over here to the bottom, but half the team is still over at the top. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the fight start to break out over at the bottom here while some of them go for the top. So we're going to see that Glaceon and that Pikachu start tapping away at this Regice, but that Ivysaur is hiding, but Pikachu knows that Ivysaur is there and is going to try and zone it out as best as possible. We have an Inteleon out on the field right now. Regice is about a third HP left. Solar, we're going to try and secure it, but not able to get it in time. Glaceon secures that Regice. Spicy. That was close.
You could definitely tell that Glaceon was so confident in that secure there. They also had their Unite move ready, with which they just used the glacial stage popping out as a means of trying to get this team to back off of their tier 1. Now they are massively chunked on the side of Cycle 100. So who's our fifth? As they always do, they're going to try to apply some pressure here. They were able to get a pick on the Cinderace, and Dragapult, while this is all going on in this bot lane, Dragapult was at the top, destroying the Regieleki by themselves, which is now going to a tier 2. And if your team Cycle 100, you want to take care of that, because this is still, you know, we're still in mid game here. You don't want your top lane to get wiped like that this soon.
Absolutely. Cram had that Unite, had that crowd control over in the lane, but then that Cram had to get knocked out. Of course, Sidgewai also getting knocked out as well. And we're seeing some defense now come in as more of the purple side comes together to just kind of push back right now Cycle 100. So yeah, we're seeing this kind of go. We're seeing the range pokes, the pokes that are coming in and out. We're seeing the level up come out from Delphox. So I think I got that mixed up right there. We do see Cycle 100 on the purple side, if I'm not mistaken there. Curly, correct me.
Yeah, no, you're right. Cycle 100 is our purple team, and who's our fifth is our orange team. Who's our fifth did win the first game, so this is our second game, and Cycle 100 has to win this. Otherwise, who's our fifth is going to be our grand finals for the July Open Series for the NA region. We do have a bottom Reggie spawning in the bot lane, and both teams are starting to get into position. Dragapult staying up in the top lane, not exactly sure why, looking like maybe they're just going to focus on that Reggie Alecki, while their teammates again apply a bunch of pressure in this bottom path here. Now, who is going to secure this Reggie still? I don't know, because they are just focused on the team fight, and who's our fifth is getting almost wiped here. It's just the Pikachu in this bot lane. Dragapult is forced to come down, join their teammates for this fight. They're gonna have to try to go for a steal, or else this is gonna be some massive experience and nice buffs for Team Mucycle 100. And it is them who get the secure. The Inteleon securing the Reggie steal, and now here we go. Who's our fifth? Applying so much pressure on this bottom tier 1.
Wonderful secure, but not without being punished. Who's our fifth? Capitalizing on those KOs after that secure. So that was really, really wonderfully done. Beautiful plays coming in from Who's Our Fifth, as now the team positions to rotate up while grabbing as much experience as possible. There is a Regieleki over up at the top, but at this point in the game, you know, it's not necessarily the biggest priority. So getting that experience, looking at those level advantages, Dragapult finally hitting that level 13 with 3.5 minutes to go. There are some Unite moves over on the field, so if you're going to use them, you're going to want to use them now before so that they can come back. Oh, and that's a huge KO onto that Sylveon. Cinderace came to play. We're going to see that Glacial Spear come out from that Glaceon, but Glaceon's getting KO'd by the Inteleon. It's going to be a huge push coming in from Mucycle 100.
Oh, and unfortunately, Who's Our Fifth was not able to really do much there, but they did have the Cram ult, which ended up zoning off the Mucycle 100 teammates, definitely keeping them away from that tier 1. Unfortunately, Cram did go down after utilizing their Unite move. Hopefully they'll get that back. I believe Cramorant has a pretty quick Unite move recharge rate, but we'll see if they will get that back or not. Really hard when you're a Cramorant and everybody on the other team, except for the Venusaur, is long range. It's just so easy for the other team to be able to, you know, jump out of that Cramorant ult. So super unfortunate for the Cram. I know that they're just trying their best here, but 19 seconds before the Rayquaza fight, both of these teams, they're just trying to farm up as much as they can and then get into position before the big fight. This is so exciting. This could be our last game, depending on how this fight goes.
It all comes down to this. Rayquaza is here. The central area is a hot place to be right now. Dragapult just kind of waiting in that grass for an opportunity to strike. You know, the pressure right now is on Mucycle 100 to make that move. It's currently 67 to 258. So Who's Our Fifth just really needs to have good defense. Pikachu got to be a little bit careful. They're going to Unite move to be able to get out of that situation right here. We're going to see little pokes come in and out, We are going to see that Unite move start to fly, but then there's the KO onto the Cram. Cram needed to get out of there as soon as possible right here. So really spread out. We can see just the effects of having so much rain. Glaceon, Unite move going to be popped out. Decidueye popping a Unite move. That's going to be, oh my gosh, with like, wow, that was 4 KOs all at the exact same time. It happened so fast, so quick, but Sylveon is still up there. We are going to see Mucycle 100. This was the pressure that they needed. Are they going to be able to secure it? There is still a Sylveon, and it looks like they are going to be able to grab it. So now it's going to come down to being able to score. It's going to be really tough to block this with all of these shields and not all of the Pokemon back up to a play. So we're going to see these scores going. That's a 100 coming in from that Decidueye. It's another 100 coming in from Venusaur. It is 267 to 258, 47 seconds, but it is still close. Those final scores need to get pushed in. Pikachu unable to stop Inteleon from getting those dunks in right now. It's now 467 to 258. It's a little trickier now to make a comeback. Potentially possible if you had a little bit more ALS energy and points, but you're going to have to go all the way across the map. So in these last 30 seconds, it's going to be tight. It's going to be pivotal, but fantastic play coming in from Mucycle 100. We might be seeing a game 3.
Yeah, I think we got a game 3. I really was rooting for Can't Stop Him on the Sylveon. To get that secure on the Ray, I think it would have made for some really great jokes. Their name is literally Can't Stop Him, and if they were able to get that secure, then can't stop them. They would have won the game, but unfortunately, Mew Psycho 100 just had an incredible Rayquaza fight there. And just being able to get that team wipe was absolutely huge for them. Even though we saw such a huge lead, and amazing pressure coming from who's our fifth, the game really truly isn't over until that Rayquaza is gone and the points have been scored. So congratulations to Mew Psycho 100. We are going into a game 3, everybody, and this is going to be such an exciting final match.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating from how intense our games have been. Oh my gosh. All tournament long, we have seen things come down to the last 30 seconds. And even when 4 of your teammates are knocked out, there's a chance. If there's one Pokemon in your team up, there is a chance. The Sylveon was not able to grab that secure, but the fact that we were all on our toes waiting to see if that was going to happen speaks for itself, the possibilities. That was awesome. But I love seeing a good game 3 in finals. That makes it even better. We've seen how talented these two teams are. Gosh, and it's interesting because what got banned in game 1, you got to see in game 2. So now with game 3, it's tough to know if you go back to your strategy with game 1 or you try to run it back. But of course, we do get to keep in mind that the team swap and first pick is also different. I don't know. What are we going to see for this last game? Winner takes all.
So who's our fifth, right? They played Greninja for the first game and they did really well. And they knew since they weren't going to have first pick for the second game, they banned the Greninja because they knew that they weren't going to be able to grab it.
Right.
So I'm wondering if maybe they grab the Greninja first this time since they will get first pick. That's something that I could see very likely because their team really ran it down with that Greninja,
Right.
that's for sure. So I think it'd be really exciting to see them back on that Greninja. Again, I think that's why they banned it. They knew they didn't have first pick. They might not get it. They don't want to have to deal with it. But that's going to be different this time around. They get first pick and it could be that Greninja. So I'm thinking maybe we could possibly see the same bands that we saw in the first game. The Inteleon, the Sylveon, maybe. The Sylveon didn't really seem to make much of an impact the last game though, so we could let it slide. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. It definitely seems like these teams seem to favor the Glaceon more over the Sylveon, despite Sylveon having better sustain. But we will see what they end up doing. Do you have any speculation about what they will end up banning?
It's tough. I think we're going to see either a repeat of game 1 or we're going to see the exact same thing of game 2. I think it's going to be one of those mirrors exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those two. But, I think something else I've loved about our tournament so far has been, we've memed about how, Attacker Assault tournament is essentially solo queue memes. But when you see teams with great synergy go at it with all attackers, it's been so different than the types of games that you see in solo queue with all attackers, or when you're versing and you have all attackers and you see other teams with all attackers. I've never seen just games played out this way, and I think that's been the coolest thing about these really creative tournaments, especially when we were watching the earlier ones this month, with seeing all tanks. It's so cool to see just how fast it's both, how fast paced, the timing of it, the timing of the skirmishes and the fights feels very different, and it's very fast paced, but there are still your quiet moments, but just the timing of everything feels slightly off in a way that's hard to describe.
Yeah, and the attackers in Pokemon Unite, it's the biggest role that we have. So there's so much to choose from. Obviously we've seen some things not really work out that great, like the Duraludon. To be honest, I don't really feel like people have been playing Duraludon very often, just in general. So it could just be, there's no one that really specializes it right now currently. But given some time, we could see some more Duraludon being played. Maybe once the YouTube content starts coming out, incredible Duraludon build right here, that could always change. I really think that that's the only attacker that really has not felt very great during this tourney. We didn't really see much Gardevoir. I think we had Do we have one? We did have one Gardevoir game because I
Mhm.
know we confirmed that we did see every single attacker in the
Yes.
game so far. So, um, but yeah, that's also really incredible in itself. The fact that we have been able to see gameplay from every single attacker that this game has to offer. It's been really exciting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I've loved seeing how much Decidueye has gotten to shine. Decidueye is one of those Pokemon that, it feels very almost risky to use. And I mean, a lot of these attackers are a little squishier, but Decidueye hurts. But you get close to Decidueye and it
Yeah.
just melts and goes away.
Yeah.
And that Spirit Shackle damage is so intense and makes my heart stop when I see it from gosh knows across the map. But yeah, it's been cool to see Decidueye, if Inteleon gets banned, it's cool to see that Decidueye is able to also fill a very similar role, and it's been fun to see. Just yeah, that's something that I think sometimes Decidueye doesn't always get the right light to shine, but when it does, it's
Mhm.
really nice.
Yes, absolutely. And with Decidueye too, I feel like a lot of Decidueye players, they're probably used to having a nice front line, not a squishy attacker front line. So I could imagine how hard it is to play a lot of these squishies, given that you don't have that support, you don't have, your strong tanky front line like that. So I just want to say shout out to all of the teams, the players who have been such a good sport about this style of tourney. I think everybody is just doing so phenomenal. And I know a lot of these players, like they're not attacker mains. Some of them are
Yeah.
support mains, some of them are defender mains. This is so different compared to like what we're used to seeing, what we're used to playing. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to all the teams and the players for the entertainment. You all are doing a phenomenal job, and it's been such a treat to watch y'all in this kind of format. And I just really hope that our viewers have been enjoying it, the players have been enjoying it as well. This is all this is all for fun. World is coming up. We're almost in the off season soon, so tourneys like these I think are really incredible, and I think we need more of this kind of stuff.
I agree. I so agree. I think there's so much room for so much creativity, and it's going to be so great. Reminder, we have 2 more tournaments in the month of July over here on Unite Battle Hub, so don't miss out. They're going to be a standard tournament format. We've got the Double Trouble, and we've got the Copa Galactica, so register. Don't miss out on the upcoming tournaments that are going to be happening soon. Register, get involved. It's fun. It's fun to try it out if you want to try out tournaments. And also, I believe there's going to be some pricing on the line too for Double Trouble, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, yes, yes. There is always a cash prize for the Double Trouble event. So especially those teams that are going to Worlds, that's some extra shopping money, you know what I mean? So definitely sign up for the tourney and see how you do, and also just do it for the experience. It's always a great time. But we are here with our bands, and looks like we were right. We're going back to a game 1 with these bands.
That's right. Sylveon getting banned out, and Inteleon. We are not going to be seeing any Chandelure or SB on this tournament because we haven't confirmed if their bugs were fixed. But we are going to see Greninja get locked in. I believe we saw this game 1 as well. I mean,
Mhm.
we had the Greninja that could. We've had Greninja really shine this tournament. Pikachu getting locked in, and Cinderace. If you can't get Greninja, we see Cinderace get picked instead as a nice alternative right here. So now we're going to find out if the evolutions are going to come out on the side, but it looks like instead Decidueye and Mew are going to be coming out onto who's our 5th side. And could we see Venusaur? Venusaur has been very popular as well. Venusaur and Ninetales. We'll have to see what kind of gets locked in here. Cram is been a big menace, but gets targeted very quickly when you know that Cram is the threat. We're gonna see
Mhm.
Glaceon get locked in on the other side as well. And then the final 2 with these kinds of comps, I don't know. What are we gonna see?
Ooh, Ninetales I think would be a really great pick, especially with that Glaceon. You could potentially have an Ice Lane, which would be a lot of crowd control. Um, as far as both of these 2 team comps go, amazing. I am so ready for this fight. I don't really have any complaints about either one. Both teams did a really great job of including, that balance that we have been talking about and making sure that you don't have too many three-stage Pokemon on your team. So this is actually looking like such a great game 3. I'm super excited. I also just want to point out there, the Mew being picked up by Who's Our Fifth. I'm pretty sure it was Mew Psycho 100 that banned the Mew
Oh,
last game. So the fact that Who's Our Fifth is bringing it back, and they have their Greninja too that they wanted. This is I really think things are kind of going in Who's Our Fifth's way, but again, anything can happen in the game. Game hasn't even started. Both of these comps are so great. Anything can happen in this next 10 minutes.
absolutely. So we're going to get underway here, and I believe we've seen Kersey on the Glaceon now going to be rocking on the Decidueye this go around, which is going to be fun. Always fun to see kind of the comps and the players change up who they're going to be playing. Lock back on that Greninja for the finalized team comps right here as everything's played. I saw that on Glaceon. We saw that energy amp, but I think that that's been very good because we've seen just the way having those Unite moves popped, come back up very quickly has been a huge help. So that's been something really wonderful to see. So this is it. This is how our winner is going to get determined. Game 3 of our grand finals for our anniversary series. Here it is for all the marbles. Our players have made it through the tournament for this moment, have fought tooth and nail. And here we go. We've got 10 minutes on the clock, and we are going out to see. Okay, we're going to see that Froakie and Scorbunny taking that central area. Going to want to get those levels as fast as possible. And then over on the other lane, we've got a Rowlet and Vulpix teaming up together, and Cram and Fennekin going to be teaming up as well. And we saw how quickly those little Bunnelbees are going down right here. And no sketchy invades this game, playing it safe. We're seeing a nice standard early game.
I did notice that up in that top lane, it is the Vulpix slash Ninetales that is running with the experience share up there, which we've seen Rowlet the past 2 games kind of struggle in that early game to get their levels, just kind of being bullied a little bit in the early games. So I think that's going to be really incredible for that top lane. Hopefully the Vulpix running the experience share can help get their little Rowlet into the Decidueye sniper here. It looks like I think most of that experience went to the side of Who's Our Fifth. I could be wrong about that. Might be kind of even, but again, yeah, just trying to get that little Rowlet online is going to be really huge. But here we are in the bot lane. It is a 3v2 right now, so they're just trying to pick off whatever wild Pokemon that they can possibly get. So same old song and dance that we always see every game, just trying to out-secure one another on those wild Pokemon, trying to farm out, get that experience, and get ready for that first big team fight.
Right. And, we saw both of those junglers actually help out a different lane right there, which is definitely why we didn't really see too aggressive of a push right there or a fight. You don't want to go down too early. Here at the 8-minute mark, we see those Swablu appear, and they're going down so quickly. Not a fight breaking out, though. Both teams really respecting one another and not wanting to get too ahead of themselves. But now the aggression's coming out onto that Pikachu. Icicle Spear going to be able to get the KO onto that Pikachu right there, as we see Venusaur trying to defend and push back. Who's Our Fifth right there, going to heal up with some berries, but for all intents and purposes was a powerful push.
A powerful push indeed, and we are just already 25 seconds away from our first objective, so things are gonna start to heat up here as we get prepared for that. Here we go with this bottom central area farm here. It looks like I could not tell who secured most of that farm, but we might get a pick. It's the Mew on the Ivysaur there, taking them out. It might be able to get some scores here. Mew dunking there, the 30 points. Glaceon gonna also be able to dunk here as well. Will Luck end up breaking it, and it looks like they are. They're gonna go ahead and take out that tier 1. That's gonna give Mew Psycho 100 some farm, which they definitely are probably gonna need, since they are gonna more than likely lose this first Reggie steal down here. That's gonna be some nice buffs here for Who's Our Fifth, which they are already up here in the top lane, ready for their teammates to come meet them. That way they can tackle on this Reggie Alecki. Now, Cycle 100 having the better positioning here, since they have the numbers up in the top lane. We'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh, I was holding on to my chair waiting to see if that Ninetales was going to get knocked out. Ninetales managed to survive and heal up with those berries. We see Delphox lurking in the grass, but Ninetales going to chase and try to zone out that Delphox. Don't want that Regieleki to get sniped, so Ninetales going to be using that Blizzard to try and push back, and Decidueye manages to secure that Regieleki, adding a little bit more pressure to fend off and to protect that tier 1 goal. We're going to see the Unite move come out from Glaceon. That Glacial Spear going to come out. Huge push. We're going to see 3 KOs onto the side of Orange and allow for some points here. A bit of a nice overcap. Not a huge overcap, but a decent one right there, about 20 or so, as you know, they're able to kind of now reposition and push back.
Would like to point out these levels here. We just saw a lot of level 9s come online for Who's Our Fifth. That means that they have a lot of Unite moves available for them to use for whatever is going to be the next engagement here. Meanwhile, Cycle 100, they're struggling to get some of their Pokemon to their Unite moves. The Pikachu, the Ivysaur, not even being a Venusaur yet. That's gonna hurt them a little bit, especially going into this next fight. It is gonna be a Reggie in the bot lane. And especially if that's going to be a Registeel or a Regirock, that's going to be absolutely huge for Cycle 100 to try to prioritize and get some kind of experience into this game. Now, they do have their lane farm. Even though they don't have their tier 1s, they still have access to tons of lane farm whenever it does spawn. So they just want to make sure that they stay on top of that. But right now, they're kind of losing the level game. And that's not to mention Who's Our Fifth is they've already scored 200 points. So that is an incredible lead already on their side. Now, here we go. We are going to apply some pressure here on the bottom tier 1. While we were watching all that, the Greninja was able to secure the bottom Reggie to themselves. It was a Reg Ice, but lots of picks happening here. The Snow Globe coming out of the Ninetales there. Desi with the 3 KO streak. That incredible push there.
That was a bloodbath. That was Unite move after Unite move. Oh my goodness, and not without some punishment to both sides right there. The scary thing right now is that Greninja is at level 12, and so if I was on Cycle 100 team, I do not want to let that Greninja get any more of a lead if possible, and definitely don't want to be getting anywhere near that without having some backup right here. We can see Venusaur lurking in the grass, not really too concerned with that Regieleki that is kind of making its way over, but it might pivot over as we see Cram's kind of defending it over here with that Delphox, and we are seeing this damage from those Spirit Shackles and the Regieleki doing a ton of damage. It adds a lot of pressure here, but Cinderella's going to try and go for the KO. We're going to see Advanced Fireworks come out. It's going to grab the KO on, and oh my gosh, it was the Decidueye that grabbed the KO. There is a lot happening between the Advanced Fireworks, Decidueye consistently sniping any and all in its path. And we do see Cram fending off this Regieleki, going to be able to knock it out, but not without taking a substantial amount of damage.
Incredible pressure coming from the Decidueye there, just to stand there and poke and poke and poke, making it much more difficult for them to have to deal with that Regieleki. It wasted so much of their time, allowing Who's Our Fifth to be able to farm up and do whatever they needed to do to keep their head in the game here. Now, looking at levels, it looks like Cycle 100 was able to utilize the comeback mechanic that the game offers when you lose your tier 1s, giving them that lane farm. They definitely prioritized making sure that they were farming that as much as they possibly could. So levels are looking pretty good for them. They're not too far behind, but of course, Who's Our Fifth is just the teamwork, the team synergy. They're really on fire here. They are doing so well as a team. It really just does seem like this is their game, and they're kind of guiding the pace of this game.
Absolutely. Couldn't have been better said myself. And now the Rayquaza is here. We are in the end game. Who's Our Fifth? The strong lead of 276. It's going to be on Psycho 100 to make a push here and to make some huge plays. Huge Spirit Shackle doing tons of damage to that Cinderace. That has got to hurt. We're seeing a bit of poke on that Rayquaza as the team fight breaks to the north of the map. Ninetales gonna go down. We're gonna see a Unite move drop from the Decidueye, gonna be attacking that Pikachu. Pikachu goes down. We're gonna see the Fanciful Fireworks come out from Delphox, but a huge Snipe Solar Beam into the Delphox, and then it's gonna get totally we're gonna see Muse Mirage come in. Oh my goodness, and there goes Cinderace. That is huge, and oh my gosh, okay, Venusaur is back to base. Pikachu's also back. And we do see only Greninja is down, but Rayquaza is only now starting to get poked. That might be enough time to see Venusaur is coming back into the central area. Gonna try and Solar Beam that Glaceon. Gonna miss, but there's the KO from the Glaceon onto the Pikachu. That's gonna be huge. But who's gonna get the Rayquaza right here? Oh my gosh, who got it? It looks like Ninetales secures that Rayquaza. That is going to be Who's Our Fifth getting that secure, but now they have to be able to score. 2 are down on Psycho 100, which is gonna make this really tough to defend, but it looks like there's not rushing right now, Curly. Oh my gosh.
No, they definitely want to make sure that they get those dunks in. Desi, their shield is pretty chunked here. They actually will not be able to score. They do get taken out, but that is okay. It is 376 points to Psycho 100's 49 points, and there's only 20 seconds left in the game now. They were able to knock out 3 teammates from Who's Our Fifth. So, I mean, I'm watching them, you know, kind of try to make their way to go and score, but unfortunately, they're just not going to be able to make it there quick enough, and they're not going to be able to score quick enough. So, it looks like Who's Our Fifth is your grand champions for the July Open Series NA Assault Attackers. Attacker Assault.
Oh my god, it's a mouthful. It's a lot. It's a lot to say. Oh my goodness. Congratulations and GG's to all players. Psycho 100 showed a good fight, and those team fights were very, very intense. We can see Lock on that MVP, but really it was the entire team coming together that made that end game happen the way that it happened. Oh my gosh, every single one of these finals matches has had me on the edge of my seat. Let's take a look at the damage breakdown right here. We can see pretty spread across the board, 52,000 on that Greninja, but really the fun part is we can go over to that graph and looking at the objectives and what was secured and whatnot. But yeah, we could see right there just Who's Our Fifth had such command over the game the entire time. And while the fights were fierce and it was tough, just Who's Our Fifth was able to clean up and take those victories where they mattered, took those objectives, and were ultimately able to score the most amount of points.
Yeah, I think Who's Our Fifth? It seems to me like they may have found their fifth. I don't know, but you know, the team definitely seemed to have really great synergy, just incredible team plays all around. So, yeah, I don't know what the joke is with the team name, but it looks to me like y'all found your fifth because y'all played incredible.
Seriously, so well done. GG's to everyone. Gosh, my heart is pounding. I thought that, wow, I mean, just from that end game, and really there was so much was surrounding that Rayquaza that I didn't know whose hand it was going to go into until the final move hit. So that secure was so tight-knit, so clutch. What a way to end our July anniversary series. It's a time to celebrate, not only congratulating Who's Our Fifth, but seriously, big celebrations and congratulations just to everybody who participated today. I know, big happy anniversary, happy birthday to Unite Battle Hub. I hope everyone has enjoyed. Gosh, these have been so much fun. We've got Kogashi here. Hey, Kogashi, how did you think that match went?
Oh, don't let teams pick Greninja. He's spooky.
Greninja's scary, huh? I agree.
He's fast, he's slippery, and he gets KOs.
He's very slippery. I agree. I really agree with you.
Oh,
he is one with the pond.
One with the pond. Kogashi, are you also one with the pond?
I believe I am one with the pond as well.
Oh. So what we're seeing is Quagsire and Unite soon? Maybe that's happening.
I hope so.
You'll get hired. Oh my gosh. Well, that concludes our anniversary series. Of course, do not forget that there are 2 more tournaments in the month of July before the World season comes to a close in August. So make sure if you're not following Unite Battle Hub, you follow them. Curly, I'm going to pass it to you. Any last words for tonight?
No, I just want to say congratulations again to Who's Our Fifth. I hope you found your fifth. I hope everybody had a great time. I hope all the viewers enjoyed this fun attacker assault tournament. I mean, I'll try to do what I can, but I really hope Unite Battle Hub does host more tourneys like this and more often, just to give players that nice competitive experience, but like a different kind of competitive experience, one that's a little bit more fun, one that you can be, you know, a little bit more silly with. I think this was an incredible experience for me as a caster, but also to those who were watching and hopefully the people who were playing too. I hope everybody enjoyed this kind of format. Yeah, just thank you to everybody that, you know, supported this event. Major shout out to our behind the scenes crew, our producers, our observers, our mods. Thank y'all so much for everything that you do and for helping bring an event like this together, and all the things that Unite Battle Hub does around here. It could not be done without our behind the scenes crew. So thank y'all so much.
So yeah, just an amazing tournament overall. I would love to see more tournaments like this. Just an idea, Battle Hub. Can we get one where like each team has to pick a Pokemon with a different color? That's fine. All right, cool.
Ooh, that's
Okay, so I'm gonna just toss that out there. And thank you everybody for coming in and watching the Unite Battle Hub Anniversary Series North America Attackers Assault. That is, I believe, 8 words. That's a lot. Congratulations to Who's Our Fifth taking first, and congrats to all the other teams for participating in such an amazing event. We hope to bring you even more of this, and make sure to stay tuned for the rest of Unite Battle Hub. We have a couple more tournaments throughout the month, so stay tuned on Twitter, and we will see you guys on the next one. See ya.